In downtown Milwaukee, this is Kyle Broston Nortman, KBN, on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Heary, the Green Bay Packers have hired a new defensive coordinator. Heary.
I think it's hear ye.
Hear ye? It's not hear ye?
No, hear ye. Like ye, hear me.
Oh, hear ye,
like,
hear ye.
Ski ye.
Oh, ski ye. The Packers have hired a new defensive coordinator. I like the ski ye a lot better. Ski ye.
That's one way to call attention.
Yeah, so ski ye. This is KBN here on ESPN Wisconsin. I'm Kyle Wallace. The voice you just heard is Brad Nortman. How you doing, Brad?
I'm doing good. You know, a lot of the show yesterday are the Packers taking too long to hire their defensive coordinator. Is that concerning you? We must have been tuned in to knowing that it was getting in the 11th hour, because no more than a half hour after we're done, Kyle, what do you know? Packers hire a new defensive coordinator, Jeff Hafley.
You know, Matt LaFleur listens to this show. He definitely does, because of the fact that he signed the jersey, the jersey that Ben Bruss had on, the Aaron Rodgers jersey way back during the summertime. And so he definitely taps in. He probably heard us today. He's like, oh, yesterday there was no Ben Bruss there. Oh, they're talking trash about me not signing somebody. You know what? You fellas watch this. Once the Homer Hour comes on, I'm gonna break news for you. It's gonna be on the Homer Hour.
I'm not gonna break it during KBN. Will not do that.
Can't do that.
Hour, then I'll drop it.
You can't do that for anything with Ben's show. Speaking of Ben is still gone. You know, as I believe he's actually doing something for his child. Homer said he's wasting his time. Brad, I don't know what you believe, but him having a baby, you think he's actually doing work?
At a minimum, he's got to support Mama. I mean, Mama's doing all the hard work. Let's not, and make it any two ways about it. But I'm sure that there's not a lot of sleep going on in Ben's world right now. So let's just hope he's getting plenty of sleep. Most importantly, having that baby be in enough sleep. Do you think he's changing diapers, or do you think he says, you got this one?
I want to know what the count is, like how many he's done compared to how many she's done.
Oh, I would love to know that.
He would probably get dumped if he didn't change any diapers.
You know what he probably does? Because we see him in the breaks all the time. If you tune in on YouTube, on ESPN Milwaukee and ESPN Madison, you can see us in the breaks. What is Ben doing all the time during these breaks? He grabs that basketball, he's dribbling it, he's working on his shooting form. I bet you he changed the diaper of the baby, puts the trash can purposely far away on the other side of the room, balls that thing up, see if his J is still working, but this time with a diaper.
Yeah, I can see that. I
make a game out of it. That'd be classic Ben.
Make the most fun, keep him locked in.
Yeah, and he'd be like, 3, 2, 1, Michigan. They're trying to do it. Relive those glory days.
Reliving those glory days as us Packers fans, and hopefully the Packers are trying to relive the glory days of winning the Lombardi Trophy and winning a Super Bowl trophy here in Green Bay. And something the Packers had in common when they won those Super Bowls back in the 2010-2011 season, in the 96-97 season, you know what they had?
A stellar defense.
They had a stellar defense, and the Green Bay Packers are looking to recreate that stellar defense as they have found their guy in defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley. And now we say the name Jeff Hafley, a lot of you all might be saying, who?
Exactly. That was my reaction.
Who is Jeff Hafley? A lot of us don't know. A lot of you still do not know who he is, but he's a guy who was a defensive coordinator. Excuse me, not defensive coordinator. He was the head coach at Boston College, a university out in Massachusetts. He was there for a couple seasons. And then before that, he does have a track record of coaching in the NFL. But I asked to you, Brad, somebody who's played in the league before, are you, KBN Nation, are you as well? Are you concerned that nobody knows who Jeff Hafley is?
I wouldn't say concerned is my initial reaction. I would say surprised, and as a player in the locker room, right? Because these players are tracking it just like we all were as fans and as folks on the radio. We are tracking who are they going to hire. The moment it hits, the players found out about it exactly when we did. It's not like they get a max text.
There is no update or information.
No, they don't get an email. They don't get a text. Like, the players find out exactly when we all do. And if I'm a player and I'm seeing this, my first reaction is not only the same thing as everyone else. Who? But if someone else would have come in that right? Whether it be an assistant coach on like the Ravens, like Zach Orr, for instance, or a guy with tenure in the NFL, like Rex Ryan or Bill Belichick, there would have been an immediate level of respect for them as they walk through the door. Because if you're Rex Ryan, if you're Bill Belichick, you've been there, you've done that. Like you know they are capable of running an NFL defense. Even if you're a guy upcoming like Zach Orr, you'd say this guy was a part of a stellar defense, a bunch of dudes, a bunch of dogs, and I'm excited for him to come here. When you hear a name you're not familiar with, particularly coming from the college ranks. Now, he did coach in the NFL, but for the last 4 years, he's been at the college ranks for Boston College. My initial thought would be, okay, you're going to have to prove to me that I can trust you. There's no level of immediate trust and that I know you're going to be able to translate your game back to the NFL. My initial thought is you're going to have to earn my trust as a player, and that's not going to happen immediately. A lot of times when you have a guy that comes in that you know is a guy, you know is a dude that can lead your team, you hit the ground running. In this situation, I don't know if it's the right hire or not yet, but I do think it's going to be a slower process just because you got to earn the trust of the players. And that's not going to be immediately deposited to him as he walks through the door, just because exactly like what we thought. Who is this guy? You just don't know.
See, I find it interesting that in the NFL, they also like players. You all just don't know who a guy is, but if you hear somebody like I want to say a Chris Orr, but a Zach Orr, who you probably, you maybe played against him in the NFL. You know he comes from the Washington coaching tree now. You would be more enthused and have more credibility and trust in a Zach Orr rather than a guy that has a long track record of coaching in the NFL, coaching and under some great people. I mean, he has connections to Robert Saleh. He has connections to Kyle Shanahan as well. Like, he comes with some credibility behind him. It's interesting to me that players even play into the game of, oh, we know who this is, so we trust them, versus not trusting the fact that Matt LaFleur and this organization did a thorough search for a defensive coordinator and brought in somebody that has a lot of experience that has been co-signed by guys who are doing very well in the NFL now.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily doubt that these guys are feeling, but think about it. So he last coached in the NFL, D-backs coach for the 49ers, 2016 to 2018. Most of these guys on the team, they were like in the Packers team. They were in high school when this guy was last coaching in the NFL. So I think that there's a feeling of, okay, you're coming from college. You're wondering exactly what his scheme is in the NFL. Because I'll be honest too, once you spend a couple of years in the NFL, unless you're a John or a Jim Harbaugh, unless you're someone that has had success on the NFL level, you don't really respect college coaches in the NFL. I think there's a level of like, why did you go to college football when you could stay on the NFL track? I think there's a level of disrespect that you have for college coaches as they walk through the doors, different than you'd say of someone that's been in the NFL the whole time. Now, it won't be a high level of disrespect because he obviously coached in the NFL for I'm looking at like 7 years here, but if he was coming directly from the NFL, I think he'd walk through the door with more immediate respect. When a guy comes from college, you're just thinking, college is a completely different game. You're playing with boys compared to men in the NFL.
Oh, wow.
The schemes are easier. It's easier to defend these offenses in college. So I think there's just a little bit of hesitancy that the players are probably feeling. Thinking, what is exactly his scheme? How is it going to translate to the NFL now that he's actually calling the shots? The reality is some guys walk through the door with respect already walking in with them. Other guys have to earn it. I think this is a situation where he's going to have to go earn it. And I hope he does. It seems like his scheme, it seems like all the things he is sort of the anti-Joe Barry. It sounds like he's aggressive. It sounds like he's young. It sounds like he's intense. You're playing press coverage. You've got guys up in the box. They're playing heavy-handed and physical. That sounds... and you're playing disruptive type football, that sounds exactly the opposite of Joe Barry. So if Packer fans can have any optimism, it's that Matt LaFleur is taking a different direction with where he wants this defense to go. But because this is such an unknown commodity, I'm sitting here thinking the biggest challenge for him is going to have to earn the respect of these players.
That's a challenge for me. 800-990-3776. That is the ESPN Wisconsin talking text line. We want to hear from you, KBN Nation. How do you feel about this hire? Does it worry you that really for us, it seemed like a no-name hire. It wasn't the names that we heard earlier. We didn't get anybody from the Baltimore coaching tree whatsoever. We didn't get one of those young, up-and-coming guys like Christian Parker that you had in Baltimore, or not in Baltimore, in Denver, or Bobby
Babbage.
Because I want to make sure I don't say a swear word while trying to say his name. And actually, Bobby Babbage. And so we didn't get a Bobby Babbage from the Bills, who is now the defensive coordinator in Buffalo. You kind of get a no-name guy. Does this concern you whatsoever? 800-990-3776. Are you concerned with the fact that the Packers hire somebody that we did not know about, is more of a no-name guy to the public? And for me, I'm not concerned. I'm not worried whatsoever. I look at his track record. I look who has co-signed him, and I feel good enough. Again, we're going to talk about a little bit later and why I have the trust in this organization, but there's no reason for us to sit here and act like we know everything about what's going on behind the scenes. When Rob Demoski joined us yesterday, and you can listen back to that interview where Rob Demoski joined KBN. You can listen back to all interviews by downloading the Wisconsin On Demand app or going to wisconsinondemand.com. Rob said, listen, there's some guy out there that I'm not sure about, a candidate out there where we don't know about, and this may be the guy. I don't know, but here's the thing. Rob couldn't put his finger or pulse on who it was, and that's just realistic for us. We don't know everything about who's behind the scenes, who does what, and I'm going to trust in our organization. And anytime you get co-signed by Greg Schiano, who people have a lot of respect for, by Mike Pettin, who was the defensive coordinator here with us, and some of us feel like he maybe should have stayed as the defensive coordinator, a Robert Saleh, a Kyle Shanahan, and now a Matt LaFleur, I'm going to ride with that individual, and especially when you're a head coach in college football. I think he left college football because everything going on in college football, it's a complete headache. It is an absolute headache. So as a player in that locker room, and all those guys know what's going on. A lot of those guys, now not a lot, but some are coming from the NIL type world. Some of them have transferred from one place to another in order to chase a check. They know what's going on. So if they look at the same things we're seeing about this gentleman that we just hired here as our new defensive coordinator, and Jeff Hafley, I think they would be able to say, well, you know what? I understand why he left college football. It's a complete mess.
Would you feel better, though, if it was a more common name? Like the initial, what was your initial reaction? Was it concern? Like, oh my gosh, who is this guy? Or was it a level of like, okay, let's go, Matt LaFleur?
Well, the first reaction is, you know that Mike Jones song. Who? Mike Jones. I said, who? Let me look this guy up. Let me find out more information, because this is not a name that got out at all. There were no whispers about him being the Green Bay defensive coordinator whatsoever, so none of us had time to do our research and jump on the bandwagon. We had time to do our research on a Zach Orr to say, oh, yeah, we'll take Zach. He's coming from Baltimore. We had time to do our research on a Christian Parker, on a Brandon Staley. I mean, we already saw what Brandon Staley can do. We had time to do this. This was a shock. I think after all the dust settled, Green Bay Packers fans are going to be satisfied with this hire of hiring Jeff Hafley for the Green Bay Packers as the defensive coordinator. 800-990-3776. Brad is a little skeptical on the hire just because of the fact that he was a no-name person. I'm going to trust in the process with the Green Bay Packers, but we want to know what you feel about that. And George on the north side, you think he's an unknown commodity. Do we trust this unknown commodity? You are on KBN.
Hey, how you doing? So this is where I am. Do names make schemes work? No. Players make schemes work. Mm-hmm. So my thing is, get the scheme in place, draft the right players for the scheme, and your success is only based off your players. You can get the best defensive coordinator in the world. Put him on a team. If that team don't have the talent to be able to execute his scheme, he's going to suck, and he's going to lose his job unless he gets the talent to be able to orchestrate. That's anybody, any offense, any defense. You got to have the talent. You can be the greatest of anything, but if you don't have the players, it's not going to work.
So are you saying that the defensive struggles over the last couple of years is primarily the players to blame, not Joe Barry?
Facts. This is where I feel. I feel like this. We should have never reversed from the 4-3 anyway. Think about the Packers' history. We've been 4-3 for years. Every time you think about it, we had two good bookends, a good linebacker and two good safeties and two good corners. Man, that's been our history. What they did was they tried to conform to everybody else instead of staying true to their identity, and then it just never worked out. You know what I'm saying? And if you're going to do anything, run both of them. Run 4-3, 3-4. You still have to think about it. When you run a 3-4, you need elephant linebackers. That means your linebackers got to be about 260. Then you got to have three fat defensive tackles to be able to plug up that middle so the linebackers can roam free. So you got to have the scheme that you have. You got to have the players, period. Period. That's what it comes down to. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a great call. And he's right? You have to have the players. If you take over and the guys aren't capable, then it doesn't matter what your scheme is. Eventually you have to let the players go play and go do it. I just think that we saw too many times, though, with Joe Barry's defense, way too passive, way too off the ball, just letting guys get 5 yards at a time, 10 yards at a time. It always looked way too easy. There were times when the Packers changed their scheme and they actually looked pretty darn capable, whether it be playing more up or actually bringing some pressure. So I do think that scheme matters a little bit more than what was being advertised in the last call. But no doubt that you have to get the players. But how do you get your best out of your players? That's what a coach is supposed to do.
That's exactly what you are supposed to do. How well can you motivate your players into maximizing their play, maximizing their potential? And that is something that clearly the Packers defense have failed to do with all the investment that they have made with first-round capital and players on that side of the ball. And to have these type of results, either it's coaching or it's not getting the most out of your players. And what my hope is that it's more on Joe Barry versus actually having to tap into the talent that the players have. 800-990-3776. We're discussing the hire of the Packers' brand new defensive coordinator, Jeff Hafley. We didn't know who he was. Most of you did not know who he was, but get to know the name in Jeff Hafley, because either you are going to love him or you are going to rip him. Either you're going to love the name Jeff or you're going to have disdain for the name Jeff, just like we had disdain for the name Joe. But John, all these J's, John and Madison, how do you feel about this hire of Jeff Hafley as the defensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers?
Man, fellas, what a day. We got our new DC. Look, I mean, last time he was in the NFL, he set an NFL record, right? Defensive backs coach for the 49ers team. They set an NFL record for fewest number of interceptions with 2 over the course of 16 games. Now, remember, that had Richard Sherman, that had Jaquiski Tart, second-round pick, right? There were some players on there. I'm not going to say it's the most talented defense, so to give the prior caller a little respect, I don't think the 49ers defense under Chip Kelly was very talented, but to set an NFL record, right? All season long, we begged this defense to create turnovers, and we just hired a dude. When he was the secondary coach, the secondary produced the fewest number of interceptions in NFL history. So for me, it's kind of a what the hell moment today. I thought there were better candidates available. If you're going to take a wild gamble, at least maximize that diversity hiring rule and give somebody a shot from a different background. But not a fan of the hire. Excited to hear the conversation, though.
Wow, that is a stat from the tightrope. I mean, I did not even know that he produced from his secondary with the 49ers the least amount of interceptions in NFL history. That is pretty shocking for a guy that had some dudes, like we talked about, but then also is known for being a defensive backs coach that tries to disrupt primarily. When you look at his philosophy, he's doing press, man coverage, which in those situations should actually allow you to get more interceptions as opposed to just letting guys get receptions in the zone. So there's no doubt he's got his work cut out for him. Outside of Jair, it's not like you got a ton of playmakers on this defense anyway. So be interesting to see how that translates.
800-990-3776. Jeff Hafley is the new defensive coordinator of our Green Bay Packers. How do you feel about the hire? Were you surprised by the hire? What is your initial reaction to the hire? We want to hear that and so much more. Make sure you hit us up on the talk and text line at 800-990-3776. Also, join and watch us live on YouTube. You can see Brad's beautiful red jacket zip up that he has on, and my just basic blue sweater.
Yeah, we started off the week in sync on our colors. We've really diverged as the week has gone on.
We've gone in different directions, but we want to know what direction you're swimming in when it comes to your opinions and thoughts about Jeff Hafley. Keep it locked. You are listening to KBN here on ESPN Wisconsin.
You're listening to Kyle Brust and Nortman, KBN.
Ben, I've been a fan of you since Scalzo and Brust was on the air. You kind of like a Pat McAfee for the ESPN Milwaukee. You kind of revolutionized this channel and stuff.
Leo, I'm here for you, and I appreciate everything you say. We love you listening, and you can call in every day and say that. I won't get old.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com. Keep the good times rolling every Sunday with GKB founder and CEO Craig Karmazin on Sunday Karma.
Everyone's using Daniel Jones as why Jordan Love's going to get paid all that money. I think it's the opposite. I think it's what you just hit.
Right.
I think that it's more of like, hey, be careful. Don't just jump into paying someone unless you're sure. Sure.
Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin.
Is that how you manage?
That is not how you manage, but that might be the way that the Green Bay Packers organization goes about their business.
It's the way the Green Bay Packers.
We know they go about their business like that.
Sundays from 10 to noon on ESPN Wisconsin.
Elevate your game day gear or any outfit with official merchandise from the Milwaukee Bucks Pro Shop. From authentic jerseys to exclusive apparel and accessories, the Bucks Pro Shop has everything you need to showcase your fandom wherever you go. Cheer the Deer to victory with authentic Milwaukee Bucks items. Visit us at the Bucks Pro Shop at Fiserv Forum or Bayshore Mall, or shop online at shop.bucks.com.
Get your game on at the Island Resort and Casino with first-round picks of your favorite slots and table games. Watch your team compete on big screens in Team McSee's Sports Bar or the Sports Illustrated Sportsbook Room. Yes, you can bet the spread, parlays, futures, and more with Sports Illustrated Sportsbook at Island Resort and Casino. Your place to bet on sports. To book a game-time getaway at the Island, call 800-682-6040 today.
Ready to conquer the Midwest's premier winter playground? Then start planning a visit to Granite Peak. With over 200 acres of skiable terrain, Granite Peak has something for everyone, from beginners to seasoned pros, park skiers to mogul fanatics, and everything in between. Soar to new heights on their state-of-the-art chairlifts and warm up in the cozy historic chalet with roaring fireplaces and stunning views. A legendary winter adventure begins at Granite Peak. Don't miss out. Visit skigranitepeak.com to book your winter vacation now, and for more information, Granite Peak. Legendary winters, legendary fun.
UW Credit Union presents the Student Athlete of the Week, supporting local student athletes as they grow on the field, in the classroom, and in the community. UW Credit Union is here for every you. Learn more at uwcu.org. Here's Ashton Rotman with the UW Credit Union Student Athlete of the Week.
This week's UW Credit Union Student Athlete of the Week is Wisconsin Lutheran's Con Kneppel. With a nearly 40-point victory over South Milwaukee, which followed an 80-63 win earlier last week against New Berlin-Eisenhower, Con tallied up a cool 57 total points in those wins. Kneppel is already committed to play for Duke next season and head coach John Shire, but was left off the McDonald's All-American game rosters, causing a bit of a disappointment around the local basketball community. However, he didn't let that sway him. The senior became the all-time leading scorer in Wisconsin Lutheran history last week. Kneppel and his Wisconsin Lutheran squad look to keep their undefeated season going as they take on both Greendale and New Berlin West this week. Congratulations to UW Credit Union Student Athlete of the Week, Con Kneppel.
Hey, remember when we were having conversations without words like inflation, recession? Yeah, I miss those days too. So at Quick Trip, we're feeling a bit nostalgic. So we've lowered the prices on all our take-home meals. Every day, not on second Tuesdays or every Good Friday. Every day, make your next meal a trip down savings lane with chicken, bacon, mac and cheese, just $4.99. Or spaghetti and meatballs, $5.99. Quick Trip. We got mealtime savings nostalgia covered.
Q Club of Wisconsin is the hangout spot for watching sports, playing games, and having some drinks. Mike, what do you have going on over there?
Gary, we have so much going on. We're still the place to be on game days to catch the green and gold. Book a holiday party in our VIP room, which includes a private pool table, 2 shuffleboard tables, and 4 dartboards. Plus, we got great live music every Saturday night. And of course, we've got our fish fry on Wednesdays and Fridays, where we pile it high.
All happening at the Q Club of Wisconsin, North Grandview Boulevard in Waukesha. Check out qclubofwisconsin.com.
This is Kyle Broston Nortman, KBN, on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
So I'll be on Twitter X, just try to roam and see different things. But I try to stay and mind my business, Brad. But I'm on Twitter X, and I see Darnell Savage's last couple tweets, who, with this new hire, I think, based off how the scheme may change, he's going to be impacted by this as he's a pending free agent here for the Green Bay Packers. And he wrote recently, blessed is an understatement, and then he put the prayer hands. Is this a good sign that he's excited about something positive in the future with the new defensive coordinator, or what do you think this could be? This is just just curious. I don't have Twitter fingers like that.
Without knowing his personal life, because there's something that personally blessed.
You could have had a baby. Who does?
I think it probably is a reaction to it. It's not uncommon for guys to go out there and just share their experience, share their thoughts on who their new coach is going to be. And honestly, Darnell Savage is a guy that could really benefit from the way that Jeff Hafley calls a defense and likes to play. We know that he likes more heavy-handed safeties closer to line of scrimmage, playing more bump up, playing more man. So I think that fills into Darnell Savage's game, and it just honestly it makes me wonder more about Jeff Hafley and Chris. We have that sound from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy with Pete Thamel talking about just his interest around league circles.
Yes, he has been sought after the past couple seasons for defensive coordinator jobs. This isn't the first NFL franchise who's come after Jeff Hafley. There was even one franchise 2 or 3 years ago that looked at him to be the head coach. It didn't get far down the road. So he's been, again, is he a coveted guy like teams are fighting for him? No, but he's a guy whose names emerge. What happens with these lists is that the college head coaches don't tend to be on the lists because if it got out that Jeff Hafley was interviewing for the Packers job, for example, it would undercut BC recruiting. Like, it's hard for head coaches to move, and that's why when head coaches like this do move, it happens quietly and quickly.
I love that.
Yeah, your reaction, that's generally positive?
No, I love that. That's my whole thing is that I talk about trusting the process. Overall, being a Packer fan my entire life, I should have mistrust only when it comes to this team, actually winning a Super Bowl, because that just does not happen very often. But we should not have mistrust with this organization overall and being competitive and making good decisions. I understand the defensive coordinator position has been a struggle for years and years and years. But overall, the Green Bay Packers have brought me a lot of happiness and allowed for me to watch a lot of great football and a lot of winning football and football into January, as they did this year after moving on from the great Aaron Rodgers. So understanding that when you look at this, you have Pete Thamel talking about this isn't the first team that looked at him for a defensive coordinator. Okay, so he may not have been a name to all of us publicly, but within the NFL circles, I don't know about how much the locker room is connected to the head coaches and DCs and who they know who's hot and who's not. But in the NFL circles, he was a person that was probably trending. Had he stayed in the NFL, he would have already been a DC by now. So it's great for me to hear and have that affirmation that we didn't just get some random guy. We got a guy that was a commodity for a defensive coordinator position. We got a guy that was so highly looked at is the fact that he was even considered for head coaching positions, but he didn't feel like he was ready. And then on top of that, his name has emerged in other conversations. And so for me overall as a Packer fan, I trust the organization. I trust Matt LaFleur as well. And here's the thing. Matt LaFleur, in every situation, when he took over the Packers, Matt had very little control of a lot of things around him, right? Because when he took over the Packers, offensively, obviously he took the job and he knew he was going to have Aaron Rodgers, but there was only so much he could do offensively to implement his offense, correct?
That's true.
And then you look at defensively, he takes on the job, and what happens? They say, hey, we got this guy named Mike Pettin. Why don't you keep him around? Okay, fine, fantastic. And oh, by the way, he runs a 3-4 defense. Okay, all right, so we're just going to roll with that. All right, you fire Mike Petty. You don't want to shake up too many things. You understand that this team and these pieces have been drafted to play in a 3-4 defense or play 2 down linemen. Okay, so let me find somebody who can adjust to the scheme that we already play here, that we've been playing here at that time for like 12 years in the 3-4 defense. So he goes and finds a 3-4 defense guy and Joe Barry to come in, and Joe Barry runs that defense. Now, finally, he can say, going into, I believe it's going to be his 5th year next year as the head coach of the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, it's wild.
And so now he has the opportunity to say, you know what? This is my team, where there's a youth movement going on, and I'm going to have it go in the direction that I want. And he finally gets to make a decision that he gets to stand on. Because I feel like Joe Barry was not the first option, the second option. I was even told he was even the third option. So Joe Barry was the third option, and you're trying to find a guy that fits the scheme of the players. Mike Pettin, you inherited Mike Pettin. The 3-4, you inherited the 3-4. Now you have a chance, just like offensively, to put your stamp on it this year with Jordan Love and his young offense. Now you have an opportunity to do the same thing with Jeff Hafley, who is a guy that has been in leadership roles as a head coach. So I feel confident about Jeff Hafley being a leader of that defense.
Well, we're going to ask Jason Wilde this when he joins us at the 3:15, because I'm curious, was this the Packers' first overall choice? You would be led to believe he would have to be at least first, if not in their top several, because very few other D coordinators have been hired at this point. So you had the pick of the litter if you really wanted to make a move. And to me, hearing Pete Thamel's quote this morning on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, 7 to 9 on ESPN Milwaukee, It brings me a little bit more peace. It brings me a little bit more solace. The fact that
I like Brad at peace.
Yeah, I like to be at peace too. The fact that when I first heard about this, I was like, are you just pulling this guy's name out of a hat, out of nowhere? The fact that but I mean,
that's how much
though.
mistrust you have in the Packers organization. As a former player in the NFL too, this is how y'all feel about my organization, my franchise that I own. Who do I need to talk to?
It's not just Green Bay. This happens all the time in the NFL. You want to pick a guy that you have the impact over. That you said, you know what, that Jeff Hafley that became a great D coordinator. I picked that guy. I picked him out of nowhere. There's a level of like ego that occurs in an NFL organization that winning isn't just enough. Winning because of you is what the ultimate goal is. So I could see Matt LaFleur, I could see any coach, not just anyone in the Green Bay organization, Kyle, but anybody wanting to say, I want to pick maybe not a risky D coordinator, but a D coordinator where I get the credit in the end.
Well, exactly. Now, do you think this is a risky pick?
I think it's I think it's riskier than most.
Really? I'm confused about a guy that comes from a great pedigree. And what do we want?
He hasn't coached in the NFL in 5 years.
Okay, that's perfectly fine. I'm okay with that. Coaching is coaching. Listen, I understand it's different levels, but that guy was a head coach. He coached in college football. He coached in the NFL, transitioned to college football as a head coach. And he's just going to transition back. And he was the head coach. That means he was a leader of an entire team and an entire roster. And now all he has to do is lead an entire defense. And that's what we wanted. We wanted somebody that can be a leader and the coach of the defense. And Matt LaFleur doesn't have to have his hands all in it. I think you're able to do that with this guy, Jeff Hafley.
But I do think it's a higher risk, though, because he hasn't been actually coaching defense in 4 years. We know what a head coach at Boston College, you're not doing defensive scheme. You're recruiting. You're doing boosters.
They're part of those conversations, though, aren't they?
A little bit, but he's not doing any like legitimate scheming or play calling. So it's been 4 years since he had his hand in any sort of defensive scheme. So look, yes, I do believe this is a riskier pick than some of the other options that were on the table. That's not to say that I don't think it can be a home run. I think it can be, because when I hear his scheme, when I hear other players and other people with great NFL minds say how great of a D coordinator he is, how the Packers are going to benefit, I love everything I hear. I just think there's a little bit more risk to it coming from the college ranks and haven't been in a defensive, mindset completely for 4 years. And I just think there's a little bit more risk.
Well, you are the former NFL player, so I guess I have to listen to you a little bit more. But we want to also hear from you, the Green Bay Packers, our Packers, my Packers. I say my Packers because, again, I love to talk about how I am a shareholder of the Green Bay Packers, regardless of how much people want to make fun of it or not. We have found our guy to run the defense in Jeff Hafley. We want to know how you feel about the Packers hiring a new defensive coordinator in Jeff Hafley. Hit us up at the ESPN Wisconsin talking text line at 800-990-3776. You can also chat us. Talk to us in our KBN group chat on ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube. So you just go to YouTube, type in ESPN Milwaukee, and voila, you can watch us live, and we'll interact with you right there on the YouTube chat. You can vote on our poll, but also ESPN Madison's YouTube as well. We interact with you there. Watch us live. Listen to us live. Keep it locked. We'll have more conversation on the other side. We have a couple calls here, but we want to hear what you have to say.
This is Kyle Broston Nortman.
I'm about being young, wild, and free.
No, you're not. You're not young, wild, and free.
Yeah,
I am young.
You're not that.
I am every wild. Time I ask you to do something, I check with a girlfriend.
Wait, why are you taking why you going personal? Why you gotta talk about business? I can still be free with a lady.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Hey, it's Kyle Wallace for Universal Windows Direct. If you've been cold in your own home, do not suffer through one more winter in a cold and drafty home. Call my guys at Universal Windows Direct. Super Spacer technology helps keep the edge of the glass warmer, holds the window sill longer, and makes the window last up to 5 times longer than other window systems. Schedule your free in-home estimate today, and for every 2 windows you buy, you get the next 2 free. Plus, a free upgrade to triple pane glass. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
Hey, it's Gabe Neitzel from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. You've heard me talk about the results mentality has had on my life, but don't just take it from me. Jason has had success too, thanks to mentality.
My only regret is I didn't do it sooner. Knowing once again I've gotten the treatments done and continuing, it's I do feel, stuff does hurt a little bit more, but I'm 40, in my 40s, and that's going to happen. But again, the energy levels, it is above and beyond. Again, I'm back in that age where I'm like, this is amazing.
Get started today at LoTUSA.com.
Do you love winning? This February, head to Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee and fall head over heels with the Love It or Leave It $400,000 game show. Thursday nights, you could play the Love It or Leave It game show where you can love your prize or leave it for another. Play with your club card to earn drawing entries. Top prize is $10,000 in cash. It's time for Love It or Leave It. Only at Potawatomi. Learn more at PaceBig.com. Must be 21 years old and a club member to play.
988 Wisconsin Lifeline. How can I help you?
Share hope, find purpose when you become a 988 Wisconsin Lifeline counselor. The 988 Wisconsin Lifeline provides free and confidential support to anyone experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis. Staffed by Family Services, 988 has experienced tremendous growth, and more statewide counselors are needed to answer calls, texts, and chats to the Lifeline. If you want to share hope and find purpose in your next job, apply now. You can work remotely from anywhere in Wisconsin. Training is provided and flexible hours are available. 988 Wisconsin Lifeline counselors enjoy competitive compensation and benefits packages. Most importantly, you can share hope and find purpose when you become a 988 Wisconsin Lifeline counselor. Apply today at 988lifelinecounselor.org. Family Services is an equal opportunity employer.
Paid for by grants from SAMHSA and the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Hey, it's Gary Olson here for Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center. Looking for that midday escape? Or maybe you want to impress a client? No matter the season, rain, snow, or shine, Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center is open for you. A top-tech, cutting-edge golf experience that gives you the chance to play legendary courses. Wisconsin Indoor Golf Center simulators, entertainment, and best Bloody Marys make it feel like summer all year round. Just $35 an hour gets you a round and puts that summer feel back in your life. Book your bay at WisconsinIndoorGolfCenter.com.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog, because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
A new year means new goals for Wisconsin hoops teams. The red and white will make a run to the tournament, and Milwaukee is eyeing up a playoff run in the spring. As Wisconsin's 3PL, Evans Transportation, knows, it takes a team effort to make those runs, and when it comes to manufacturers' accounting, shipping, and tracking needs, Evans is the supply chain team for you. Good luck to all Wisconsin hoops teams from Wisconsin's 3PL. Find them at evanstrans.com.
You're listening to Kyle Brust and Nortman, KBN, on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Jeff Hafley, that's the name. Get it right. That's my man. It was Jordan Love this year that became my man. Now it's Jeff Hafley. That's my guy. I'm standing on it.
Man, Kyle's calling out in week 1 how Dontavian Wicks is going to be a superstar. And now he thinks it's just anyone he picks out. I mean, so far, so good, though.
I thought
Wicks,
I could be an NFL scout. I really did.
Maybe you missed your calling.
You
and Goody. You and Goody.
Yeah,
in the same office together, grinding together.
Y'all could have been hating on me and Goody back when we pushed Aaron Rodgers out the door. Get up out of here. I don't know. We were in our pre-show meeting, and there was a quote about the fact that, did somebody say that when asked in his press conference or before when he knew Jordan Love would be good, did somebody say he said in 2019?
I think he jokingly said 2019 with like a smirk.
And he drafted him in 2020?
Yeah.
That's
a pretty savage answer.
It
is so savage.
It is. Definitely the confidence I like from my general manager. But this is the confidence I want to know. I want to know, are you confident? Do you feel good about the Packers hiring Jeff Hafley as their new defensive coordinator? 800-990-3776. Marking a truck. Risk or reward? Which one do you think this is?
I think that's going to be measured by next season, honestly. We took the risk this year, right, with the youngest team, and it came out rewardingly, I think. People were underestimating us, for one. They didn't know what to expect from all these new players. I don't think very many offensive coordinators are going to know what to expect from this DC. And I think it could have a more rewarding effect, being the culture that's going on in Green Bay right now.
I like it.
Yeah.
I think he's right. I think there's a risk reward factor to this hire. I do believe it's riskier. I do believe it's a riskier hire than most, but for the record, I think this is going to work out. I think this is going to be a good fit for this defense, but the fact that he hasn't been a D coordinator before, he hasn't done real defensive planning in the last 4 years as a head coach of a college program, you just can't do that. I do like everything I hear about his philosophy, about his game planning, about how he wants to play defense. And there's certainly been a lot of positivity about anybody that has either coached or played or analyzed football. So I think it's pretty positive. That's interesting, right? Last caller said, was that Mark in a truck?
That was Mark in a truck.
There's no film on him. There's no film on him.
Well, you go watch Boston College film as I'm doing right now.
Well, Boston,
and I'm sure Boston College defense film is going to go through the roof.
You know, when they're playing Wake Forest and they've got 6 receivers out there and trying to figure out how much you can use that then?
Yeah, I mean, I'm liking what I'm seeing. The guys are flying around right now. They were up against Florida State early.
You know what I'm curious about? I'm curious on how receptive he's going to be. He has to use the talent that Goody gives him, right? There's going to be more draft picks, but he knows the players he's going to use. How will they mold to his system? And is he willing to hear out anything? If Jair comes to him and says, I want to play this way, is he going to be receptive to that? Because Joe Barry was slow on that uptake. I think there is a give and a take. You are both professionals. If you have earned respect in the NFL as a player, you deserve to have a little bit of voice in how you play. Not a ton, but just a little bit of voice. I'm curious to see how he receives it. Seems like he's pretty cool with the players, so I bet you he receives it pretty well.
I mean, being a college coach, and like you said, you got to be a player's coach nowadays to coach in the NFL.
You really do.
I mean, you really, really, absolutely do. Diana and McGuanago, what are your thoughts? How you doing, Dirty Diana?
I'm doing good. I hope you don't get your hopes up for nothing, Kyle. I'm a little skeptical until I actually see what he can do. We're going to find out if it was actually the coach or if it was our defense.
Would you have preferred
if it was the players?
Would you have preferred
directly
someone else that is more well known for the Packers D coordinator role?
I would have personally liked to have had Jim Leonard from the Badgers.
Yeah, we all love Jimmy Leonard. That's true.
Yeah, that's a good thought.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Diana.
Thank you, Diana.
I think it's legit. I think here's the thing. When it comes to Jim Leonard, he was just the known commodity, right? And we all felt comfortable with Jim Leonard. And I think Jim Leonard would have excelled and thrived as an NFL defensive coordinator. But I'm not upset that we didn't get him because for some reason I feel good about this hire.
Crazy fact. Jeff Hafley coached Jim Leonard when Jim Leonard played for the Browns.
Well, there you go.
In 2015. Wow. So there's a connection for everyone that wanted Jimmy Leonard. Maybe a little bit of Jimmy Leonard rubbed off on him. Who knows?
Chef Ed, you are on KBN. I want to know your thoughts, Chef Ed, because I know you're a Packer backer and a diehard Packer fan. How do you feel about the new hire of Jeff Hafley as the defensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers?
Well, out of the gate, I want to say you guys are doing a great job this week. But I honestly, I do miss my boy Benny.
We all miss.
I think he's not doing much. I think he's not doing much at the house. He's kicking back, playing Madden and Nintendo. But did either of you gentlemen listen to Willie and Tausch this morning? Because they had a caller, the young man from southeastern Wisconsin, but he's going to college. He's going for his master's at Boston College.
Okay.
And he had the viewpoint of saying that Hafley is a player's coach, but he gets in your face. You know, he's very aggressive. He is defensive mind oriented. So I'm kind of excited about the whole situation of getting Hafley in here.
I like that. When's the last time?
What do you guys think?
I like that. When's the last time this Packers defense had fire? This is how it happens in the NFL, right? I feel like when you experience one thing and it doesn't work out, the pendulum swings completely to the other side. That's everything we're hearing about Joe Barry versus Jeff Hafley. Jeff Hafley. It was so easy to say Joe Barry. Jeff Hafley.
It really was.
Name. But like, think about Joe Barry, more reserved. Sounds like Hafley is more outspoken. Hafley's more aggressive with his defensive scheme, more disruptive, and Joe Barry is more bend but don't break. Jeff Hafley's younger than Joe Barry. So, I mean, there's all the Jeff Hafley seems to be receptive to changing, maybe molding to his players. Joe Barry seemed a little bit more hesitant to it. So it just seems like the pendulum completely swung in the other direction, which makes sense. If you were dating a girl and she was, she talked all the time and that got on your nerves, you broke up with her, you're probably going to date someone that's a little bit more quiet on the back end. So it happens in life. It happens in the NFL. I do think this is a great change of pace. It's going to stir the pot for this defense. And the reality is, Brian Gutekunst has committed a lot of draft picks to the defense. A lot. The expectation should be higher than what the Packers have put on the field. The big question is, who is the coach that is able to put that all together? Scheme and just pure coaching. And this is going to be on Matt LaFleur to figure out if this is the right guy or not, and he staked his claim.
Yeah, our boy Sadler in Madison is kind of talking about that as well. He said here on the Talking Text line, 800-990-3776, the ESPN Wisconsin Talking Text line, he says, I'm happy that Hafley got the DC job, but I am concerned about this hire because Hafley has not been a defensive coordinator before.
I mean, that's real. It's real when you're sitting in the chair and you're not the person that has done it. I guess technically he was a co-defensive coordinator in Ohio State, but it's
NFL and college,
Green Bay Packers and D coordinator. So expectations will be high, and he's gonna have to learn on the fly. But I don't think that's necessarily a deal breaker. But I just think it goes back to, I talked about how he's going to have to earn the respect of the players in the locker room. Some guys, the respect walks in with them based on what they've already done. Because he was in college, because he's never been a D coordinator in the NFL, he's going to have to earn his respect, and therefore the uptake might be just a little bit slower than if you had a guy who's already established.
I agree, but I know what? I'm starting off on a good foot with my boy Jeff Hafley. You my boy, Jeff. You my boy. 800-990-3776. That is the ESPN Wisconsin Talk and Text line. But coming up next, got a little over-under action, right?
Little teamwork, Kyle.
Little teamwork. So with this over-under, we have to ask for caller. Chris, how does Chris? So we have to ask for caller number 6 over, caller number 7 under.
Caller 6, caller 9.
Caller
6 gets the choice of whether they're going to take the over or the under for whatever category I have planned for you guys today. And then caller 9's stuck on the other side.
There we go. 800-990-3776. We are looking for caller 6 and caller number 9 to play over under. Do you trust Brad and I, just with the two of us, to execute on over-under? You have a chance to win a prize. Keep it locked, 800-990-3776. A little over-under action coming up next, and your chance to win here on KBN.
This is Kyle Bruston Nortman, KBN.
You said they are a reflection of their head coach.
Yes, he's soft, as he proved with you by signing that damn jersey you had on. You think Campbell would have signed that jersey?
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com. Football Guy.
Good morning, Tausch. How are you?
Football Guy.
Old T's a little, I'm not feeling 100%.
Coming at it from different views.
No, just I think with all that little stuff that's going around and the long trip back from the loo, I'm going to grind.
Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Also sponsored by Coors Light. Weekdays 9 to noon on 94.5 ESPN. And available wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
Your bathroom is boring and basic too. It seems like there's nothing you can do. A better bath awaits. You'll feel brand new, relaxing in a world of peace at the Bath Authority.
Hey, it's Kyle Wallace. Right now, schedule your free in-home estimate and get $1,000 off a new shower or bath, plus 36 months of interest-free financing. Restrictions apply. A better bath awaits.
You're our priority at the Bath Authority.
Gabe Neitzel from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy here. Don't let the chilly weather end your golf season. X-Golf and American Family Field is open all year round. They've got innovative and accurate golf simulators, all overlooking left field at AmFam Field. Enjoy daily lunch specials or have an outing with your friends and take in X-Golf's full bar and food menus. X-Golf AmFam Field is even offering golf lessons by a PGA Pro. Everyone is welcome at X-Golf AmFam. Book your sim today. XGolf, AmFamField.com. I'll see you out there.
Racine Danish Kringles is a perfect Valentine's Day gift for that special someone with their heart-shaped Kringle. This tasty treat features pink icing in raspberry, chocolate silk, cherry, and pecan flavors. Go to Kringle.com or call 800-4DANISH to order. UW Credit Union presents the Student Athlete of the Week, supporting local student athletes as they grow on the field, in the classroom, and in the community. UW Credit Union is here for every you. Learn more at uwcu.org. Here's Ashton Rotman with the UW Credit Union Student Athlete of the Week.
This week's UW Credit Union Student Athlete of the Week is Wisconsin Lutheran's Con Kneppel. With a nearly 40-point victory over South Milwaukee, which followed an 80-63 win earlier last week against New Berlin Eisenhower, Con tallied up a cool 57 total points in those wins. Kneppel is already committed to play for Duke next season and head coach John Shire, but was left off the McDonald's All-American game rosters, causing a bit of a disappointment around the local basketball community. However, he didn't let that sway him. The senior became the all-time leading scorer in Wisconsin Lutheran history last week. Kneppel and his Wisconsin Lutheran squad look to keep their undefeated season going as they take on both Greendale and New Berlin West this week. Congratulations to UW Credit Union Student Athlete of the Week, Con Kneppel.
Are you sick and tired of achy joints? Dread the idea of surgery? Then you need to call QC Kinetics today. Hey, this is Brad Nortman. Listen, the state of healthcare is always changing. The old ideas like steroids and surgeries are no longer your only options. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics is transforming lives with innovative, non-surgical, drug-free treatments that deliver lasting results. Knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, whether it's from arthritis or an injury, don't let this pain keep you from living your best life. QC Kinetics Advanced, state-of-the-art treatments harness and direct your body's natural ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. This is a revolutionary approach that can get you long-term relief with no downtime. Make 2024 the year you reclaim your mobility, reclaim your independence, walk, run, play, and live without the danger and trauma of surgery and without harmful drugs. Call QC Kinetics today for a free consultation. Call 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
That dog does not want to be petted.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
This is Kyle Bruston Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
It is KBN here on ESPN Wisconsin and Wisconsin On Demand. You can watch and stream us live right now on ESPN Milwaukee's YouTube page. Go to YouTube, type in ESPN Milwaukee, and voila, you have us here live. You can also watch and stream live on ESPN Madison's YouTube page as well. But now it's time for you to watch and stream us as we play Over Under.
Will the guys hit the over or will they disappoint? It's time for Over Under on Kyle Bruston Nortman.
All right. As the big voice guy just said, it's time for Over Under with just myself, Brad, and Kyle today. And on the over, we have Appleman in the Orchard, my man. I'm so glad he picked the over. That's my homeboy. And Dwayne in West has the under because Appleman picked in West Bend, he has the under because Appleman believed in us. So, all right, Brad, you ready here?
Yeah, I'm ready to do it. I'm curious.
Last time we got Marquette and we were one player off, like Marquette players.
Yeah.
So let's see who we have now, Chris. What do we got today?
All right, so today's category, BetOnline.com did a study where they went on Twitter X over a 90-day period tracking negative sentiment tweets directed at each NFL team. So, for example, hey, I hate the blah, 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 screw the blah, 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 stuff like that. And they came up with the total number of tweets breakdown for each NFL team of who was hated the most. So I'm looking for the top 10 list also of the most hated NFL teams based off those tracking of tweets.
All right.
What's the over-under?
The over-under is set at 6.5.
6.5. Okay.
You think you're ready?
Yeah, let's do
All right,
this.
whenever you guys want to start the clock, we'll go.
All right.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Cowboys.
For sure, Cowboys.
Final answer.
Yep.
Cowboys number 2 on the list with 9,103 negative tweets.
The buzz threw us off.
Yeah, so that's correct.
Sorry.
We must say, what the heck, Patriots, right?
Well, I don't know how relevant they are nowadays.
All right, Chiefs?
I was going to say Chiefs for sure.
Chiefs, final answer.
Chiefs number 1 on the list with 10,768 negative tweets.
Wow, number 1 on the list. How about San Francisco? I mean, I feel like teams that are in the mix.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good with that. The 49ers?
Yeah, let's do 49ers.
San Francisco number 10 on the list with 4,520 negative tweets.
So I don't like this, but the Packers are probably on this list.
Probably on this list. All the Bears fans out there.
The hating-ass fans that have the Packers on this list.
Yeah.
Packers final answer.
The Packers number 8 on the list with 5,172 negative tweets.
How about Eagles? Because even Eagles fans hate Eagles. So I
They're frustrated with the Eagles.
They are.
They definitely. I think that's a good one. The frustration with the Eagles.
Do Eagles final answer.
Yeah.
The Eagles number 3 on the list with 7,955 negative tweets.
The Bears got to be on the list, though. I mean, the Bears are so terrible, and the negativity out of Chicago is so bad. Bears got to be on the list.
I'm good with there.
Huge city. You got to think about New York City as well. So maybe the Giants or the Jets, maybe potentially on that list as well. I don't see Seattle. I feel like the Patriots, maybe. Bills, no, those fans are positive.
And people don't really hate the Bills.
Yeah, and I don't see anybody in the South. Like, nobody hates the Texans, and nobody hates the Titans and the Dolphins.
Detroit's pretty positive.
Yeah.
People love that story.
Vikings might be on that list, but let's go. Do you want to go with the Bears final answer?
Bears. Let's go Bears.
Bears final answer? Oh, wow.
Okay.
So it must be good teams.
Yeah, last 90 days. Think about teams.
Oh, last 90 days.
Yeah.
1 minute.
Okay, how about teams that either were close to the playoffs, made the playoffs? I don't think the Buccaneers. I don't think that'd be much negative tweets. How about not Ravens? Maybe people don't like the Ravens because they're so good.
Let's say the Ravens.
Yeah, Baltimore Ravens.
Final answer.
Final answer.
Baltimore number 4 on the list with 6,241 negative tweets.
Okay,
So you have
what about
6 right now total with 1 incorrect answer.
So we've got
30
3
seconds
guesses to get 1.
The Steelers may be on that list.
The Steelers might be. What about the Browns?
The Browns, Patriots. I feel like we should try the Patriots.
Okay, Patriots final answer.
Patriots number 5 on the list with 5,679 negative tweets.
Should we keep going?
What's the last 2?
How about I think the Browns might be on there.
Say the Browns.
The Browns. We already got it though. Final answer, Browns. Nope.
Probably the Steelers because they sucked in the playoffs.
Jets got
the
it.
Jets are the Jets aren't relevant. Jets, Jets final answer. Aaron Rodgers is
Yeah.
Jets are number 7 on the list with 5,211
we don't need
tweets.
Who needs Ben?
Yeah, who needs
Stay
Ben?
with
We
the
killed
baby,
it.
Ben. Stay with the baby. We still have time to spare.
I know.
I took the timer down.
Oh, okay.
But, you had about 10 seconds left before you got the final one.
Okay.
There's 2 teams left, though.
Probably, I would say probably the Steelers is one. Because that's got to be frustrating for that fan base and that the whole quarterback situation, new offensive coordinator.
I like Steelers. What about the Rams?
Maybe.
I feel like the Rams are kind of hated, but maybe not.
And maybe the Bills, Dolphins. It has to be a playoff team, right?
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's definitely go with. I want to go to Steelers.
Do Steelers. Were Steelers on the list?
Steelers number 9 on the list with 4,791 negative tweets.
Can we get the last one? This would be a pretty darn good over/under.
The last one would probably, and not the Texans.
I'm thinking of a team that's just disliked in general, but also relevant enough to tweet about over the last month or so. Because I don't think the Buccaneers would be on there. The Rams might be a big enough market.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Okay, Rams.
Who was it, Chris?
All right, number 6 on the list was the New York Giants.
That's the Giants.
You said that.
433 negative tweets.
Well, wasn't bad. I mean, the Giants have been irrelevant for a while. But shout out to Appleman in the Orchard on winning today. What did they win today? A $25 gift card?
$50 gift card.
$50 gift card. Maybe I was trying to have you split it with me, my guy, my Appleman in the Orchard. Who, by the way, talk about donuts.
Take us out to eat.
The donut slab that they have and the donut holes that they have out there at the Apple Orchard that he's at. Man.
So good.
Delicious. And Dwayne in West Allis, I'm sure you would have taken the over as well. West Bend, I'm sure you would have taken the over if you had an opportunity. But thank you so much for all that. You feel good about yourself?
I feel pretty good about ourselves.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. We know We know where the hate is directed. That's my takeaway.
Yeah, we do. And here's the thing: when we have the freedom to be able to think and talk amongst each other, like because the last time we had it, we missed Wes Matthews and we said it, but we didn't go with it, and that was early on during our tenure here on KBN and playing over under. Now we have more experience. We don't have to worry about Ben kind of being negative and throwing things out. We were able to work together and we were able to see, listen, the formula might be playoff teams. You said more recently, and bada boom, bada bang, look what happened.
You know what my takeaway is from this list?
What is that?
That, man, if you're good, haters going to hate.
Yeah.
Because they're all good teams on this list.
Yeah, they are.
So
they are.
when you're rolling, man, haters going to hate.
They're absolutely going to hate. And there's been some hate or dislike of the new defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. We've been talking about that, but there was a quote that came out of a press conference today from the guy who I like in Goody. Yes, I do like Brian Gutekunst now, kind of. And he made a comment about David Bakhtiari. We haven't heard that name in a while. Keep it locked. We're going to play this audio for you, and we're interested to get your take. Keep it locked here on KBN.
Go beyond your field of study and get a world-class education in leadership by joining the U.S. Army ROTC. Army ROTC programs transform students into confident leaders and provide a wide range of scholarships to help pursue life-defining careers. As an Army officer, you'll work side by side with peers who support your growth. Gain the experience and get the resources to open doors down the road. Army ROTC is open for enrollment. Visit goarmy.com/ROTC to learn more about available opportunities and scholarships, including at Marquette University.
Stop in at Fleet Farm for one of the biggest selections of Milwaukee tools around. Milwaukee's raised the bar on heavy-duty performance, and we've got over 1,100 Milwaukee tools and accessories to help you crush that to-do list. Like the M18 cordless 2-tool combo kit. 400 pounds of torque packed into just 4 pounds of compact drill driver plus 2 batteries. Shop all the top brands we carry to help you power through everyday life at Fleet Farm.
The Saganiac Planning Fantastic Finish, January 20th, 2006. A Big East battle at home against Notre Dame. It's 65-all, and Marquette inbounded the ball from midcourt with 12 seconds left. Down to 5 seconds, Joe Chapman on the right wing passed to Steve Novak, who ran in front of Chapman to get the pass. Novak dribbled into the right corner, and with 2 seconds left, faded to the right, put up a jumper just inside the three-point line. It was money. Oh, baby, final. Marquette 67, Notre Dame 65. Who makes dental and vision insurance simple? That's easy. Delta Dental of Wisconsin. If you ask yourself, who encourages you to use your dental and vision benefits for preventative care, provides quick service, offers access to the largest provider networks, and helps you save money when you need more than a checkup, there's only one answer. Definitely Delta Dental. For more information, call Eric Pearson, Saganiac Planning, 262-783-6161. Eric Pearson, Saganiac Planning, named synonymous with employee benefits and top-notch service. Hey, this is Homer. You're listening to the home of Marquette basketball. 94.5 ESPN is WKTI and WKTI HD, Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station. Broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. This is Kyle Bruston Nortman, KBN, on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
It is KBN here on ESPN Wisconsin. I'm Kyle Wallace. He's the longtime NFL player / punter, because I guess he wants me to put respect on his name and his position, because punters are people too.
That's right. Wave that banner.
Yeah, waving that banner loudly and proudly. No Ben Bruss this week, as Ben Bruss had his baby, and it wasn't, I guess it didn't come out of him, but or maybe it did. I don't know. I don't want to go too deep.
He played a role.
He did play a role in helping create life, and so congratulations to Ben on his beautiful brand new baby, and congratulations to us being better without Ben and being able to dominate on the over and under. And actually, Dwayne actually hit us up. Dwayne and West Bend said, hey, I would have definitely taken the over. So they have confidence in us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that the Kyle non-Ben Nortman team is killing it when it comes to over-under. We were in a groove. We had to figure it out. It felt like we had a great system going down there. All on the same page, Kyle. And Appleman in the Orchard was the beneficiary of that.
He sure was the beneficiary of that. And I believe it's Jacobson is where we went for the apple orchard down there for him. So
I can still
So shout out to Jacobson Orchards. He did a phenomenal job. First class service down there.
I can still taste the apple donuts. Like just thinking about it, y'all. I wasn't able to go with you guys, but you guys brought some back.
Did bring some, so delicious.
And I remember you're like, Brad, you got to have one of these apple donuts. You heat it up for me in the microwave.
Yep.
I needed to like slow down my eating of it because I didn't want it to end. It was so good.
It was delicious. I cannot wait for the football season because the football season means it's apple picking season, but also the offseason is also entertaining because this is the thing. Listen, real fans who really get into football, they love the regular season, but also we love the fact of the unknown, of not knowing what's going to come. That's why the NFL draft has so many great ratings because you don't know who the future of the Packers is going to be, but you know this kid, this young 20, 21, 22, 23-year-old, this guy could be a stud for you. You love free agency because you like knowing who your team is going to sign, but also with free agency, in the offseason comes maybe losing some players. And there's a player on the Green Bay Packers that has not played too many snaps recently. And right now, his career and his future may be up in the air. And today, during a press conference that Brian Gutekunst had today, talking about the end of the year and what's coming up next, he was asked about David Bakhtiari and his future, and he's also asked about Jair's future as well. And there was a little bit of a difference in answers that he had for the two responses.
Yeah, again, we're still at the very beginning stages of looking at, how we're going to move forward with all that. Obviously, David's been through a really rough stretch with the injury stuff, and he's going through a very major surgery, trying to get back to be able to play. So we're monitoring that. I know he's working his tail off, and we'll kind of, once we get down the road and see where he's at, health-wise, we'll kind of make those decisions.
Brad, you played in NFL, and you said, and I repeat it all the times, you played in the NFL, and you heard the response there about David Bakhtiari, right? But now I want to hear the response about Jair Alexander from the general manager of the Green Bay Packers, Brian Gutekunst.
Really proud of the way Jair responded to that, and I really think that's going to help us moving forward.
Is there any consideration to trading him in
No.
the offseason?
No.
All right.
Didn't even let him finish the question.
Didn't even let him finish the question, Brett. Now, listen, you played in the NFL. You're a player. You're in the locker room. So when you guys hear this stuff, you all start chatting. You all start talking. As a player, when you played for Carolina and they ended up, you ended up taking a deal somewhere else, if you heard an end-of-the-year press conference where they were like, well, we'll see where he's at and this and that versus somebody else saying, nope, he's staying with us, how would you have reacted to that?
Well, if it was talking about me, where it's like, hey, we'll see where we're at, I wouldn't be very happy. That's for one. If it was a teammate, and as I'm looking at this from the outside looking in, you have to tune your ears to NFL speak, right? We talked about this all year with Matt LaFleur. He'd go to the podium and he would say a thing or two. You have to go beyond the words that he's saying and what is he trying to tell us? Because very rarely is a coach going to go up there and be like, yeah, he stinks, we're moving on from him. But you have to hear the subtext to what they're talking about. When he talks about Jair Alexander and he says, I love how he responded from the suspension, and I'm not even going to let you finish your question, that is a no. He is going to be on this roster. That is a stamp of approval. Jair Alexander will be on this roster in 2024. But when he says David Bakhtiari, and it's basically a soliloquy of words that don't mean a whole lot. And it's a whole lot of hedging. Soliloquy, Kyle. And it's a whole lot of hedging, and it's a whole lot of we'll see, and he's a good player, and he's just trying to get healthy. That tells me everything I need to know about David Bakhtiari's stance and position in the Green Bay Packers going forward. After hearing that, he's not going to be on the team next year. He's not going to be on the team next year. They're going to figure out a way to cut him, trade him, whatever they need to do to get David Bakhtiari out. That just is not what you say when you want to have a stamp of approval on who your roster and who your players are going to be in 2024. So when I heard that came out of Brian Gutekunst, I was even curious beforehand. Man, I wonder if they want David Bakhtiari back. Well, that's all I need to hear. David Bakhtiari will not be on the roster next year, and I would be shocked if he is. If Gutekunst reverses course and they keep him, I would be utterly shocked.
Yeah, so there was a couple things, and I didn't get a chance to listen to the entire press conference, but I got some snippets and got to listen to some of it. And this is the thing, is that you are absolutely right, Brad. It is clear cut. When you want somebody around and you want to send a message, the Green Bay Packers sent a message earlier this season. They let Jair know, listen, we don't like the direction that this is going, but we still love you as a player. I drafted you. And anytime Goody has drafted somebody, he's going to put trust and faith in him. We know how talented he is. They just hired a defensive coordinator in Jeff Hafley, and I'm going to keep saying the name because I want everybody to know our new defensive coordinator, Jeff Hafley, They hired a guy that calls the defense and runs the defense where you get to play some more man. And what is something that Jair wanted to do more of?
Play man.
He wanted to do that. So this is a signal to him. We hired a guy that fits you, Jair, that fits the way you want to play because we believe in you. And then in the press conference, when I'm asked about you, all I do is sing your praises. And when they say, is there any thought about trading you, before they can finish saying the word trade, you said no. That is a vote of confidence. That is what you want to hear as a star player, that you know that they talked the talk during the season when we had that come to Jesus moment between Matt LaFleur and Brian Gutekunst. And I don't know if Mark Murphy was in that conversation or not, but when they talked to Jair, they supported him, and now they're backing it up right now by supporting him here publicly as well. Matt LaFleur did it during the season and was like, hey, I love the way that he responded, and then on the field he responded well as well. That is when you have confidence in somebody. Now, on the flip side, when you're talking about David Bakhtiari has a cap hit of $40 million next year.
Oof, that's true.
And then on top of that, if David Bakhtiari was to leave the Green Bay Packers, guess what? You open up $21 million in cap space. $21 million in cap space, and you take a dead cap of 19, but here's the thing. You care about money. And what does this team need right now?
Well, a few different things.
They need a few different things, but you need money to be able to get those few different things.
Sure.
And so David Bakhtiari, his future is clear-cut. He ain't coming back to the Green Bay Packers. David Bakhtiari know he ain't coming back to the Green Bay Packers. Goody know David Bakhtiari ain't coming back to the Green Bay Packers. And here's the thing. You've been replaced, man. Like Zach Tom on the right side, fantastic. Rashid Walker, once he got going in a groove, we weren't even worried about, boy, oh boy, we wish we had David Bakhtiari. We weren't concerned about that. With Jordan Love combined with this offensive line, those guys look great together, and I feel good. So you know what? I like David. I am a big fan of David, but hey, it's a game about saving money and building this team, and David ain't part of the future, and Goody just let us know he ain't part of the future.
And this is what happens in the NFL. It really is a next man up. You couldn't ask Rashid Walker and Zach Tom to play any better at their respective tackle positions.
In the moments, too.
And in the moments, yeah. How many great rushers did they go up against? Bosa, Micah Parsons, and Jordan Love had
Chase
a clean
Young.
pocket.
Yeah.
Chase Young.
We didn't see any of these guys getting after him.
And that's a 4th and a 7th round pick or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what
you're talking about. These guys are locked in. They have low contracts. They're young. They're healthy. David Bakhtiari had a great run. You can't take that from him. But maybe you ship him off to the New York Jets where they desperately need O-linemen. The last thing the Packers need is an old, unpredictable, whether it be vocal or health, offensive tackle that's going to get in the way of these young guys continuing to develop.
The Packers proved last year that they can go young and they can find success. That's exactly what they proved last year, and they're just going to keep proving it as well. They got this defensive coordinator, but they're going to go young right now, so I'm excited about what the future holds.
Yeah, me too, and I think this is the right decision. But as far as Jair Alexander, I wonder if it'd be any different if Ballantyne and Valentine would have played at the same level that Tom and Walker did. I wonder if those guys would have played at, almost a Pro Bowl lockdown kind of level. That would have changed it for Jair. They were a little too inconsistent, and Jair made enough plays, and he came back, and he actually did pretty well when it mattered. So I would be good. If you told me we're keeping Jair and David Bakhtiari is on the way out the door, I'd say I think that's the healthiest decision for the team.
I think it's a healthy decision as well, but I'm going to ask somebody who is around this team and knows this Packers team in and out, and that is the great Jason Wilde. We'll have Jason Wilde joining us coming up next. Keep it locked. You're listening to KBN on ESPN Wisconsin.
You're listening to Kyle Brust and Nortman, KBN.
Tyler, thank you for all that baby talk there and parenting talk. I'll take some of those tips.
I was getting ready for it right
now. Yeah, taking notes over there.
I'm taking some of those nips. Taking some of those tips. those tips and storing them away. I do like nips as well. But Tyler,
on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
We have an issue coming out of the Mitchell interchange onto 4394 northbound. Apparently, there's some debris in the roadway. We've got the 3 right lanes blocked, and it's going to be solid pretty much heading through the Mitchell interchange, heading northbound on 4394. So if you can, I'd avoid that area. We've also got some debris reported on northbound 4394 getting into the Marquette. Looks like the right lane might be affected with this. Eastbound 94 slowing down from just before 76th Street all the way through the Stadium interchange, and northbound 43 backing up between Locust and Keefe. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today, partly cloudy, mild with a high of 45. Tonight, mostly cloudy, a bit breezy with a low of 34. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazagon, 94.5 ESPN.
Badger football fans, Brad Nortman here, inviting you to the Big Red Rally, an evening full of fun, football, and food, hosted at the Italian Community Center in downtown Milwaukee on February 8th. Meet the Badgers' newest recruits and hear directly from head coach Luke Fickell. Tickets to the Big Red Rally can be purchased individually or in tables of 10, with special discounts for UW-Madison grads. Jump around downtown Milwaukee to the Big Red Rally on February 8th and be part of the tradition. Visit uwalumni.com/events for more information. I will see you there.
Racine Danish Kringles is a perfect Valentine's Day gift for that special someone with their heart-shaped Kringle. This tasty treat features pink icing in raspberry, chocolate silk, cherry, and pecan flavors. Go to Kringle.com or call 800-4DANISH to order.
ESPN Wisconsin's Ben Brust here because Forward Healthy Lifestyles has shown me that getting older doesn't mean you have to feel older. We used to think getting older meant having less energy, less muscle, less endurance, less sex, and perhaps a bit more joint pain and weight around that waist. Not anymore. The experts at Forward Healthy Lifestyles help men optimize their hormone levels, including testosterone, providing cutting-edge regenerative medicine therapies, and even help men lose stubborn weight with programs like semaglutide. In 2024, change your life. Visit forwardhealthylifestyles.com for a free consultation.
Stay up to date on the Green and Gold all off season. The Green and Gold Fix podcast is brought to you by Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Luxury stay, elite play, unwind in sophisticated comfort. Win big, dine, and experience the events in Milwaukee.
Are you ready for the winter destination adventure? Look no further than Lutsen Mountains, where the magic of the Northwoods meets the thrill of the slopes. With over 1,000 acres of skiable terrain, Lutsen Mountains offers endless opportunities for fun, from the gentle slopes for beginners to heart-pounding off-piste runs for the experts. Enjoy breathtaking views of Lake Superior as you soar in our chairlifts, including the brand new Raptor Express six-pack, and savor the cozy warmth of their slopeside condos at Eagle Ridge. Lutsen Mountains, celebrating 75 years in the legendary North. Visit Lutsen.com and book your stay now.
Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Alex Strofe.
This Badger Minute brought to you by UW Credit Union. For over 90 years, UW Credit Union has helped Wisconsinites achieve their financial goals at every stage of life, offering great rates for greater possibilities. Join today at uwcu.org. The Wisconsin Badgers men's basketball team is in sole possession of first place in the Big Ten and ranks number 6 in the country. The Badgers have a tough road test coming up on Thursday night as they head to Nebraska, a place in which they lost last year, before returning home Sunday to host number 2 Purdue. Head coach Greg Gard earlier in the week on the challenges ahead.
Head on the road to a place that no Big Ten team has won yet in Nebraska. Numbers, when you do the stat splits, are unbelievable how much better they are at home.
Badgers Cornhuskers tip off tonight at 7:30 on Big Ten Network.
Get 0% interest for up to 3 years, or get no money down, no interest, and no payments for up to 18 months at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Visit PellaWI.com.
You're listening to Kyle Brust and Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
So tell me now, do you want it? 'Cause these dancing feet don't cry to the rhythm they cry for you. And every Saturday night that
You know what that means? It's time for Jason Wilde. You can listen to Jason Wilde on Wilde and Tausch weekdays from 9 a.m. to noon on ESPN Wisconsin. Packers reporter Jason Wilde. How you doing? Thanks for joining us on KBN.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Doing great. I like that,
Doing
Jason.
good.
You sound like you're in a phenomenal mood. I like that energy. You know, Brad and I are harmonious, so we love that type of energy and affirmation in your voice.
Harmonious. That's what I've always thought about you two, is harmonious. Like ebony and ivory.
Yeah,
Living together in perfect harmony.
Look at that. He's the ivory and I'm the ebony, right? That's what it is.
You said it. Who's who?
but Jason, speaking of harmony, just the Green Bay Packers, Matt LaFleur going and selecting Jeff Hafley as the new defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. Is it a shock to you? Do you think this is going to work out? Did you know who he was? I mean, give us all the tea on what you know about Jeff.
Yeah, I did not. I was, as Chris Larson knows, I was on hold getting ready to join Homer last night, and the news broke literally while I was on hold waiting for Homer to get to me. And look, when it's someone who I seriously, no offense to Boston College alumni or Eagles fans, but I didn't know who the coach of Boston College was. I'm guessing I wasn't alone. So at first, when And I had kind of planted my flag on the Ejiro Evero Hill, and I will admit that I will wonder, and maybe I can get Matt LaFleur to answer this for me when there's some Bud Lights on the table or whatever it would be. I don't drink, but I don't know what he drinks. But if I would love to get him to say, yeah, I kind of wanted Evero. I really liked him the first time I interviewed him, but it became pretty clear that Carolina was going to try and keep him. I would love to know if he had the choice between Evero and Hafley, who he would have picked. And the honest answer, not the, well, I hired Hafley, so obviously Hafley's the answer. Now, I wonder that only because I know that he had interest in Evero. Whether or not he was going to become available was the biggest issue. But look, here's the problem. When someone gets hired that you don't recognize their name or don't know much about them in real time, your first reaction is, what? Who? What? But if you go back, and this is kind of what happened to me yesterday in real time with Homer, if you look at his resume and then you think about the fact that he spent 3 years or 2 years with Robert Saleh in San Francisco, and Matt LaFleur's brother was there, and Adam Stenovich was there, and obviously Kyle Shanahan was there. And then you look at, he's got a pretty significant amount of defensive backs coach in the NFL experience before he went back to the college game. I think if you look at his resume, it's certainly no worse, and it's definitely better than, say, Zach Orr, who was named the Baltimore Ravens defensive coordinator today, who, because of our friendship with Chris Orr, we would have loved to have seen him in Green Bay. But Zach Orr hasn't been a position coach for very long in the NFL, and we were excited about him, A, because we know Chris, and B, because he's a guy from a Baltimore system that seems aggressive, and you get excited about that. So I think the more I found out about Jeff Hafley, the more I liked the hire. But again, none of us know right now. Good, bad, indifferent. We're right at the starting line, and I'm just eager to see what kind of defense he actually runs.
Jason, it was highly publicized last time Matt LaFleur hired the defensive coordinator role that he offered it to Jimmy Leonard and got turned down. And, before you know it, he's down to Joe Barry, which was like his third choice. And I think that caused a lot of concern among the Green Bay Packer fan faithful. So outside of Evero, who ended up being blocked and retained by the Panthers anyway, so he really was never even available. Was this good? Hafley is LaFleur's first choice then, right?
Yes, I definitely think that's
yes.
Wow.
That's what I want to hear. I like first choices. I love it.
Oh wow! Yeah, I don't think he offered it to anyone first. And look, I know Pete Thamel was on with Jen Gabe and Chewy this morning. I do think one of the reasons why this managed to get under the radar as opposed to some of these other interviews, I'll let you in on the dirty little secret of these NFL insiders. The agents for them, for the coaches, are the ones who fill the Tom Pelisseros and the Ian Rappaports and the Adam Schefters in on who's interviewing where. Because when you have a client who gets an interview, you want to get it out there. So then, hey, other teams maybe want to interview them, right? And it increases their opportunities. If Brad Nortman, I don't know if you still stay in touch with your agent from your playing days, but if you want to create some buzz about Brad Nortman being the next special teams coordinator, the assistant special teams coordinator for the Packers, well, get him an interview with one team and then leak it out there so other teams know that he's in the running, and suddenly he's getting 2 or 3 more calls. So the reason why, and this is what Pete Thamel explained this morning, these college coaches, man, if something like this doesn't work out and LaFleur ends up choosing Denard Wilson instead, well, the last thing that college coaches want out there, especially in today's climate, with the challenges of having to re-recruit guys you already have on your roster so they don't go into the transfer portal, the last thing they want is for it to be out there that you were pursuing the Packers defensive coordinator job. You didn't get it. Now you're back at BC. So it makes total sense that his agent would have never leaked this to any reporters because he didn't know how it was going to go. And then obviously it came out last night that he was going to Green Bay. So I do think it's interesting that we were all kind of caught by surprise. But when you understand the ecosystem that those leaks come out of, you kind of understand why it wasn't out there.
Jason, scheme-wise, right, from what we're reading, I don't know what's facts and what's not, and that's why I want you to clear it up. For everybody here in KBN Nation, it sounds like we're not going to be running a full 3-4 anymore. It seems like we're going to have more of a hybrid defense where you run a 4-3, you run a lot of nickel. What does this potential shift in scheme mean for the current guys on the roster?
Yeah, I mean, it obviously means something, but I don't think, and you know, Goody made this comment today during our half-hour Q&A session with him. Like, I think we all know this, although, as I experienced, Matt LaFleur giving me my lesson, and there aren't really two down linemen in the sub package, even though those guys are true defensive linemen and your outside linebackers. While you're calling them defensive ends, that's not how they're listed on the roster. It is a nickel league. It is a 4 up front, whatever you want to call the 2 edge guys, 2 in the middle, and then 5 in the back end. That is how this league is played now. Tausch and Chewy and even Brad, you know, you guys played in an era that is gone. And I just think that 3-4, 4-3 doesn't really matter. It mattered in 2009 when Dom Capers was hired as the defensive coordinator. Like, if you guys remember, I know you were both young fellas at the time, but like, if you remember, Ted Thompson then subsequently they hire Dom Capers in January, and in the draft in April, Ted Thompson drafts B.J. Raji to be that space eater in the middle of a 3-man front, and then he drafts Clay Matthews to be that edge rusher as one of the 4 linebackers, one of the 2 outside linebackers. So they drafted to fit that major personnel shift. I don't think you're going to see that be the case here because I just don't think it's as big of a deal as it used to be.
Shifting to the other headline in Green Bay is the fact that Brian Gutekunst had his postseason conference today. And, one of the things that jumped out to me was his comments on David Bakhtiari. Some of his answers were incredibly definitive, like, are you trading Jair Alexander? And before anyone could finish the question, he said no. But when it came to David Bakhtiari, I said he kind of had a soliloquy of hedging and saying nothing, which to me says David Bakhtiari will not be on the roster in 2024. What did you decode from Brian Gutekunst as he talked about David Bakhtiari?
Yeah, I do think, in fairness, even though I think you will ultimately be proven right. Okay, I don't think David Bakhtiari plays for this team next year. But in fairness, both Aaron Jones and Jair Alexander are healthy. They are not coming off of yet another major knee surgery, and so you can't speak as definitively about Bakhtiari, even if you did want him back or didn't, because you just don't know how he's going to come out of this. Like I know he had the surgery in November, October, and it was an invasive procedure. So it's not like if they started practicing tomorrow, he would not be able to participate still. And so I think that's part of the hedge. That said, I don't think he's coming back. And I do think that if the scenario where he would come back, in my mind, would be that he recovers, but it's a slow recovery. No team pursues him. He wants to keep playing. The Packers believe that he will come back on a restructured, incentive-laden deal. That would be the scenario I see. Like, his cap number is $39.9 million. Oof. He is not coming back on that number. So I would think he'll be released because they gained $21 million in cap space by moving on from him. So I guess what I'm saying is I don't think he's coming back either, but I think the hedge isn't purely just, I don't want to say publicly we're not bringing him back. I certainly can't say we are bringing him back because I don't know if he's healthy enough to even be brought back. I just think the health component is part of the hedge. Not all of it, but part of it.
If he does come back, like Rasheed Walker goes to the bench, what does that even look like? Because I feel like Rasheed has done enough, in my perspective, to earn a starting spot next year.
Yeah, I thought Goody kind of hedged on him too. Like he was asked kind of a direct question of, if Bakhtiari, if you're not bringing back Bakhtiari, has Walker shown you enough to be the starting left tackle? And he did not commit to that. So, they could flip-flop those guys. They could say, Zach Tom is better. We need him on the left side. They can leave Zach Tom there and give Walker every opportunity to hold on to the job. They could use one of their 5 first 2 days picks on a left tackle and plug him in. I think Rasheed Walker did some good things. I think he improved a ton over the course of the season, but I don't think he did enough where they are willing to say he's our guy at left tackle. I think that was pretty clear today.
Jason, before we let you go, we're all very aware of the Green Bay Packer siloed system where Goody and LaFleur are, kind of on different areas. They don't report to one another, all to Mark Murphy. But did Goody have any say in this defensive coordinator hire?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I think they had conversations about it, and certainly Matt LaFleur filled them in. But this is, Goody's got control of the roster, and I don't think he consults LaFleur all that much on that. I think he's more likely to tell him what he's planning on doing and just seeing if he has any objections as opposed to really getting his, what do you really think about this? I'm kind of not sure, this guy. And I think in terms of the coaching staff, that's Matt's call. So Matt, I'm sure, fills him in and talks to him. But as Goody even mentioned, Matt's talked a lot more to Jeff Hafley than he has. So I will say this, and I was talking to somebody today about it. What I'm really curious about now is what happens with the rest of the staff on the defensive side of the ball. Because when Joe Barry came in, he just took over as defensive coordinator, and it was all the same guys that had been assistants under Mike Pettin. And I'm really curious as to whether or not, they're going to stick with the status quo or there is change coming. My spidey sense tells me there's some changes coming, and it's not going to be the status quo. But that, to me, is the next question. And obviously Matt LaFleur and Jeff Hafley are going to have to flesh that out.
Change can definitely be good, but I love one thing that's hopefully never going to change is Jason Wilde joining us here on KBN. Thanks so much, Jason.
Thanks, Jason.
That was so nice, Kyle. All right,
it was
guys,
harmony, baby. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Ebony and Ivory. All right, guys, take care.
Yes, sir. That was Jason Wilde. You can hear Jason Wilde on Wilde and Taos weekdays 9 a.m. to noon on ESPN Wisconsin. You can also watch us live here on YouTube by streaming ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube or ESPN Madison on YouTube. And also, we got this cool thing. We've been doing our take machine for a while now, and we want you to get in on the action. So what we do is we find different takes from around the office, but we open it up to KBN Nation. And if KBN Nation, you ever want to join in and call in on the take machine, dial 414-292-9944. That's 414-292-9944 to share your hot take of the day. Whether it's your hot take about 4-day work weeks, whether your hot take about Brett Favre and having cell phones and never being able to use a cell phone, whether it's your hot take about traffic, we want to know what your hot take is, and we'll air it right here live on KBN. But next, you'll hear the take machine and some of the hot takes we got going on around the office and also from KBN Nation. Keep it locked. You're listening to KBN on ESPN Wisconsin.
This is Kyle Bruston Nortman, KBN.
Student Athlete Support Fund was something I was looking at. I'm ultimately likely going to give to this College of Letters. Jeez. I was in life.
Long week.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
We've got an issue on Highway 100 or Main Street, Menominee Falls, just east of I-41. Looks like we've got some lane closures because of a crash through there, so give yourself some extra time. Also, eastbound 94, right about at 35th Street, the left lane is blocked with a broken down vehicle. So that's going to be slowing things down pretty much all the way back to 84th Street with that. Otherwise, the westbound side going to be a bit slow right out of the Marquette, heading out through the Stadium interchange as well. Traffic is brought to you by the Neal Group. They know how to minimize your taxes to keep more money in your pocket. Visit nealgroup.net. That's NEAL group.net. And checking the TMJ4 Storm King forecast tonight, mostly cloudy, bit breezy with the low of 34. Tomorrow, decreasing clouds with a high of 39. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazga on 94.5 ESPN.
Woo! I am thirsty today. Definitely going to need a cold one. There's the one.
It's almost Mardi Gras season, so Ben's grabbing New Orleans' own Abita Brewing this week. Here's Leo from Abita, giving the inside look at what separates Abita from the rest.
It's really simple. It's the water. It's the number one ingredient in all beers, and our water is pristine for brewing. It comes from a southern aquifer that is over 5,000 years old. All we do is filter it out for sand. We don't treat it. We don't do anything with it. So when you're enjoying your Abita beer, what you'll taste is the water being softer. It's a different taste on your tongue or your mouthfeel, and that's really the big thing that separates us from all. We source all our ingredients locally in Louisiana or from around the country. We don't use any adjuncts with it, so it's just great beer.
Find all of Abita's beers at your local retailer today, and as Ben always says, keep that fridge stocked.
Don't put your life on hold to earn a degree. Lakeland University has a long history of making students' dreams come true. Since 1862, build a schedule that meets your needs with options for 7 and 12-week courses, evening classes, and the ability to join classes remotely. Lakeland University is Wisconsin's leader in evening and online education. They have a main campus in Sheboygan County and 6 centers throughout the whole state. Lakeland University. Affordable, quality, flexible. Find out your next steps at info.lakeland.edu.
I had a really strange experience today. Strange how? A man walked into the store who was only about 2.5 feet tall.
What?
And he was carrying a bow and arrows.
Did he sort of have a baby face?
Yes. How did you know?
Sarah, that was Cupid.
Oh.
Did he give us a thumbs up?
Yes, 3 times.
So tell us, what are the Cupid-approved gifts for Valentine's 2024?
He loved our diamond stud earrings starting at $198.
We have 186 different styles and sizes.
And we have more than 1,400 pair in stock.
And Cupid loved our $98 diamond pendant.
It looks like it's worth a lot more.
And every purchase of $298 or more includes a fabulous free travel case to safely transport all of your jewelry.
But mostly, he loved the 4-carat total weight wow diamond engagement ring for less than $4,000.
Welcome to Kessler's for Valentine's Day.
Cupid approved.
Find the Kesslers nearest you at KesslersDiamonds.com.
Hey, it's Jason Wilding for Associated Bank. Here in Wisconsin, we love our sports year-round, right down to the Packers games in the Lambeau snow. If you want to show your love for the green and gold every day, you got it with Associated Bank's exclusive Packers checking account. A one-of-a-kind debit card, a 10% discount at the Packers Pro Shop, plus everything you'll score as an Associated Bank customer. Best of all, you'll get a banking partner based right here in the Midwest. Visit AssociatedBank.com/Packers to get started today. You've got this with Associated Bank. Member FDIC.
This is Kyle Bruston Nortman, KBN, on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Baby, let me pull up on you.
You could pull up on me.
I'll pull up in that AMG. Pull up, pull up, baby, pull up, pull up, baby, pull up, pull up, pull up.
Jamming out here on KBN. No Ben Brust, but you got my boy Brad Nortman, longtime NFL punter. You got me, Kyle Wallace, just a Packer backer. And we've got you, KBN Nation, joining us here today. But now it's time for one of my favorite segments of the week, and it's time for the Take Machine. I love the Take Machine because I love ripping the terrible takes that people have in office. I don't know about you, Brad.
Yeah, it's educational at a minimum to hear what people think out there. Sometimes I think it's a pretty good take. Most of the time, I'm shocked that this is how people feel.
Well, let's see how we feel about the takes from the take machines around, I guess, KBN Nation.
We've all got them. Sometimes they leave you with a good feeling.
You're incredible.
But most of the time they end up leaving you unsatisfied.
Do you have anything bigger?
This is the Take Machine on Kyle, Brust, and Northman.
All right, so we got a couple takes today, Chris. What we got for today?
Here's my take. How many days off does this guy need to not help the baby mama do all the work? We know what he does for jury duty. I can't imagine what he does pretending to help. I hope baby and mama are healthy and that Ben is doing something to help those things be true.
Wow.
Outside take. I love that. You can do your outside take at 414-292-9944. That's 414-292-9944 if you want to share a hot take, especially about Ben.
I know KBN Nation has their hot take, so I'm so thankful that we had a caller from outside of this station to give us your take. And this one was a hot start with giving Ben a hard time, which I'm probably actually on this take side. I'm curious as to all the work that Ben is putting in, because something tells me I think he's just probably there for moral support. I don't think he's doing any of the hard work. I don't think he's doing any of the heavy lifting. And, I would imagine he's just sitting there using these days as more rest and recovery and as a more vacation oriented than actually doing the hard work.
Just moral support. But here's my thing. What is this jury duty thing? Did he have jury duty and he absolutely decided not to come to work even if he had an opportunity? Can somebody fill me in? I see some head nods. The jury duty? Chris, Ashton, y'all know what happened with jury duty?
Well, we'll have to be filled in later. I'm sure it's one of those things.
You nailed it, Kyle.
That's what happened. So instead of coming to work, he used jury duty as an excuse not to come to work. Correct.
That's so soft.
Classic.
Anybody that would actually want to get out of jury duty, I feel like can. Don't hold me to that legally, but I feel like that's the case.
No, you could bump it back.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, as far as Ben, we're going to know right away on Monday if Ben put actually any work in. If he comes back sprightly, clean-faced, ready to roll, that's how you know he didn't do anything. But if he's dragging, if he's disheveled, that's how a clear sign that he actually did a little bit of something.
Ben's gonna come back refreshed.
He is, isn't he?
And he's gonna say, "Well, I'm just happy, I had my child." Instead, it's gonna be because he's probably taking a nap right now.
Yeah, I'm sure. Brand new man.
A brand new man. Yeah. Okay. What's the next take we got, Chris?
What confuses me about the NFL is when you look at wide receivers, running backs, maybe quarterbacks to a certain extent. Everyone always says those are the skill position guys. Those are the athletes. Stuff like that. Do we understand how athletic offensive and defensive linemen are? Here's my hot take. Offensive linemen, the best athletes on the football field. You go out and run a 4.9 or a 5-second 40 carrying that weight, being that strong. Offensive linemen are freaks of nature in a good way. They're athletic, legit freaks. So, yeah, that's my hot take. Everyone else, all super athletic, obviously. I'm not taking away from anybody. Maybe punchers aren't really that athletic, but whatever. But offensive linemen, underrated athletes. Some of the best out there.
I mean, you just couldn't quite hold back from a little bit of jab, could be out there. One could argue that punting is maybe the hardest skill of football.
Harder than throwing a pass.
Because think about
55, 60 yards downfield and hitting somebody right in the bread basket in the hands.
Think about this for a hot take on the take machine. If you just give anybody a football, almost nobody can punt it well. Almost nobody.
I can punt it.
No, not well. You can make contact with your foot, but it's not even close.
I put it in high school freshman year.
That doesn't matter. High school punters stink. Trust me, I've seen too many of them. I'm trying to coach it out of them. But most people can grab places by the football and throw a spiral.
Stop
how hard
it.
Is that?
No, you can't.
Most people can run a sprint at a decent pace.
Here's the issue, Brad. I would have been on your side just with the disrespect towards punchers, but the fact that you tried to defend it by saying punting is the hardest skill. You think punting is more difficult than kicking a 55-yard field goal?
It might be the highest of the skill.
Come
the
on now.
hardest skill to replicate.
It's not
at
the
a high level.
Literally everybody can punt a football, and everybody can't punt
make
it.
Contact.
No,
There's a difference.
No, what do you mean the difference? Legit, I can punt a football. I can't punt the football, 50 yards in the air. But if I can do a coffin corner. I can, especially what you have in college football now, where they get it in rugby style and hit it off the side of their foot. Anyways, I can be a Division I college punter.
Okay,
I can be a Division I college punter. I'm telling you.
I actually agree. Division I college punting drives me absolutely crazy. I hate this rollout punt. It's a total cop-out. I hate watching that. But
so you could be Tory Taylor, huh, Kyle? You could be Tory Taylor.
I can't be Tory Taylor, but I can be
one.
I can be Andy whatever. What's our punter's name for Wisconsin?
Well, no, you couldn't be Andy Vunovich.
Not Andy Vunovich. Yeah, I could be Atticus.
No, you could not be Atticus.
Bart Houston punted for the Wisconsin Badgers. He was a quarterback.
An athlete. He's more of an athlete than you.
He is more athlete than me, but I can punt like Bart Houston.
Man, I'll tell you what. The problem is
that was after you left.
That is after me. Punting is too accessible. Anybody just thinks they can do it just because they can drop a ball and make contact. People think it's way too easy. Nobody can do it. It takes years and years of sculpting that skill. It's like a piece of art.
So if I can punt the ball 40 yards, is that good enough?
No. You have to get hang time. You have to get location.
Oh, gosh.
The ball is going to get taken right back on you, Kyle, by like Tyreek Hills of the world.
No, I'm just going to do it the Atticus Bertram or whatever his name is for the Wisconsin Badgers. Shout out to Atticus. What a great name.
Shout out to Atticus. But as far as this take, okay, I'm not going to go as far as saying that offensive and defensive linemen blanket statement are more athletic and more skilled than the actual skill position, wide receivers and running backs and tight ends. That's because those guys, usually pound per pound and speed, they're like the pound for pound strongest, pound for pound fastest. However, there are some guys like the Joe Thomases of the world, like the TJ Watts of the world, like the Micah Parsons of the world, Myles Garrett's. Where there are some offensive and defensive linemen where you're like, these dudes are built different. So if you were to put Myles Garrett up there with one of the most athletic people in the NFL, top 5, top 3, maybe even the first, I'd have no problem with it. But across the board, there are some like slobs that play guard. I'm not going to lie. So it's close, but I wouldn't go that far with this.
I think this take is right there with you, close. Defensive linemen, dude. Some of these defensive linemen are freaks, like freak athletes. Like how you are 295 pounds and run a 4.5, 4.6 40 is insane to me. Absolutely insane. Some of these dudes can do windmill dunks. They can do 360 East Bay dunks. Put it between their legs. Like these dudes are freak athletes. I agree. Like obviously Tyreek Hill types, the Jair Alexanders are freak athletes, great athletes. But dude, if I was 100 pounds heavier, I would be a slouch. I wouldn't be able to move at all. I can barely run now. I'll probably run like a 5.5 40 now. I'll run an 8.5 40 if I had 100 more pounds on me. Luckily, maybe 10 seconds. Like, not at all. Not at all. It'll be a joke.
Yeah, if you're over 260, 270, you're an ORD lineman. It's unbelievable. But there's not many of those guys out there.
There's not many of those guys out there at all. But you know what we do have out there?
What's that?
We have Underdog Fantasy, and I want you all to get in on the fun with Underdog Fantasy. I love playing Underdog Fantasy. Just last night, me and my lady were playing Underdog Fantasy, and we were picking with the Bucks. Like I said, we wanted to ride with my Milwaukee Bucks for the Underdog Fantasy because it makes the game so much more fun to watch. I get to team up the Bucks with playing Underdog Fantasy and winning money, all of my favorite things that I love in one place, and I want you to be able to play as well. So what I want you to do, I want you to go to the Apple Store or the Google Play Store and download the Underdog Fantasy app, or go to UnderdogFantasy.com right now. Use promo code KBN. That is promo code KBN, and Underdog will match your first deposit up to $100. It's so fun to play. You get to play the pick'em game. You can pick between 2 and 5 players, select higher or lower on player stats, and if your pick hits, you win up to 100 times your money. Yes, 100 times your money. I'm not a mathematician, but if I bet $10 and I can win 100 times of that, is 10 times 100? Is that 1,000?
Yeah, you just add a zero.
Just add the zero. You can win up to 100 times your money. So it's so fun to play, and you can hit it big. So again, download Underdog Fantasy in the mobile app store, or go to UnderdogFantasy.com and use promo code KBN to sign up, and they will match your first deposit up to $100. Plus, they'll give you a special pick. Yeah, a special pick of higher than 0.5 total yards to use on your pick'ems. Last night, they had a special going on for 0.5 higher on Giannis having a total of points and rebounds of 0.5. 5. So all it took was 1 point for you to get that win. That's easy money, man. Sign up for Underdog Fantasy today so you can utilize that special pick and you can have fun playing Underdog Fantasy using promo code KBN. And again, that promo code, they will match your first deposit up to $100. Now, to play for Underdog Fantasy, you must be 18 plus, present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates, and terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Underdog Fantasy. Get in the game, have some fun, download the app.
This is Kyle Bruston Nortman.
DKB, they get all my love, all my energy, and all my time. I'll be danged if GKB and Craig not going to allow me to take my half an hour boo-boo. If I need to do that, they need to allow me to do that.
That's your whole lunch break.
I don't even take a lunch break. I work during lunch.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com. Football Guy.
What the hell happened to Bucky on your hat?
Football Guy.
A lot of wear and tear for old B.
Coming at it from different views.
I'm just saying he's well worn. I mean, his face is missing.
Okay, well, it's probably time for me to freshen that up. Bucky wants to flip you off right now.
Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Also sponsored by Coors Light. Weekdays 9 to noon on 94.5 ESPN. And available wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
Brewers win!
Get more from your live baseball experience with the 2024 Brewers Ticket Plan. On sale now. Don't miss more exclusive Brewers season seat holder rewards, like your very own batting practice session, more can't-miss action, and more access to the game you love. It's your ticket to being a VIP Brewers fan this season. Plus, you'll enjoy savings on ticket prices you can't get anywhere else. Learn more at brewers.com/ticket plans.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
Hi, this is Marie from Discount Liquor, southeastern Wisconsin's beer, liquor, and wine headquarters. For over 60 years, 7 different decades, all as a local family-owned business. Discount Liquor has a selection with over 14,000 varieties of beer, liquor, and wine in stock, along with everyday low prices, expert service, and convenience with 2 locations. But don't just take my word for it. Let's check out some online reviews. Robert wrote, "There's not a better liquor store around. Nobody even comes close to their beer selection. The only issue? I get brain overload because there are so many choices." And Aubrey recalled, "I went in looking for a very specific and rare dessert wine. They not only knew of it, but special ordered it and called us when it was available for pickup. Just can't beat their service." Thanks, Robert and Aubrey, for your kind words and patronage. Discount Liquor in Milwaukee on 51st in Oklahoma and in downtown Waukesha on Main and Barstow.
Do you love winning? This February, head to Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee and fall head over heels with the Love It or Leave It $400,000 game show. Thursday nights, you could play the Love It or Leave It game show where you can love your prize or leave it for another. Play with your club card to earn drawing entries. Top prize is $10 grand in cash. It's time for Love It or Leave It. Only at Potawatomi. Learn more at pacebig.com. Must be 21 years old and a club member to play.
Hey, this is Jason Wilde from Wilde & Tausch. Valentine's Day is almost here, and Racine Danish Kringles has you covered with their heart-shaped Kringle. You know my family loves Kringle from Racine Danish Kringles, and sometimes they share it with me. Racine Danish Kringles offers a heart-shaped Kringle with pink icing and raspberry, chocolate silk, cherry, and pecan flavors to send to your loved one. Order at Kringle.com or call 800-4DANISH. Racine Danish Kringles, the official pastry of ESPN Wisconsin. It's not just a treat, it's a tradition.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tauscher here for my friends at Kohler Services. Well, you thinking about updating your bath or shower? Turn to Kohler Services for end-to-end bath and shower remodeling, where Kohler design consultants and installers do the work for you. Family owned for 150 years, Kohler is your Wisconsin manufacturer providing care for life. Start enjoying your bath or shower right now with a special offer. Visit KohlerServicesWI.com to request your free quote with fast, professional installation always included. That's Kohler ServicesWI.com.
ESPN Milwaukee's Gabe Neitzel. I've spent a while telling you about Mentality because it works. Not just for me, though. Take it from fellow Mentality user Jason. He's got a new lease on life thanks to Mentality.
Process was easy. It really, truly was. And the individuals that work at Mentality, very helpful, very respectful. It was an easy in, easy out. You go in a week after, they give you the results right away. And once you find that you're able to do it, just that thought, the energy already picked up a little bit. Most of it could have been mentally wise, but knowing that, hey, I get to start this, it was incredible.
Learn more today at MoTUSA.com.
You're listening to Kyle, Brust, and Nortman, KBN, on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
What is it called? You hit a some dog and it'll holler or something like that. You know that saying? No. It might be a little bit. It might be too old for it. No. Why are you shaking your head like that, Ashton? You hit a hurt dog and a holler. I don't know what the saying is, but I was just thinking of Ben because we talked about Ben Brust and the Take Machine, and you can join in on all the Take Machine fun. If you ever want to call in, you can call in at 414. Goodness gracious, I'm trying to go through my notes. Was it 414-292-4499? Did I get that right? No.
414-292-9944.
I didn't have it right in front of me. I'm going to get fired for that one. 414-292.
9944.
That's the Take Machine. And we had our KBN Nation call in and talk about the Take Machine. They said Ben wasn't doing anything. They wasn't watching his baby. He was slacking off. And, of course, us thinking Ben slacking off, you think he proved us right, or did he, not prove us right?
He proved us right because in our ESPN Milwaukee YouTube stream, we have our group chat going on as we always do. We're hearing from you. You're hearing from us. We're talking back and forth. And who do you know busts through the door and has a take of his own? It's our very own Ben Brust, who's supposed to be on daddy duty right now. That's what he's not. That's why he's not here right now. But clearly he has time to watch us on ESPN Milwaukee's YouTube page. And you know what he says? He doesn't say, "Hey boys, I missed y'all."
Haven't heard from him in days.
Yeah, haven't heard from him. Not a peep. Not a peep. All he says is, "At Brad, me. You look like a tennis coach. Maybe soccer, actually." Taking a shot at the Wisconsin zip-up I'm wearing as part of my issued gear wearing streak, which we're on day 70, if you can believe that.
He should be disqualified from winning. If he doesn't like what you have on, you're disqualified.
The first thing he says is a shot. I mean, that's just so Ben Brust.
It's classic Ben Brust. Ben had a baby, and we thought maybe it would make him be more mature and grow up and change, but absolutely not.
No, he hasn't changed. And another thing that has been confirmed for us is he's got plenty of time on his hands. Plenty of time. So he can tune in on our group chat on ESPN on YouTube. I mean, I'm telling you, if he's doing that, surely he could do a segment or two.
No, he definitely could. He could do a segment. He tried to get on your case when we had a snowstorm. That was the biggest snowstorm we had here in Wisconsin, where you had how many feet of snow in your house?
I mean, that day we had like 12 inches.
12 inches of snow that day, and it's probably still 4 to 5 inches still in front of your yard because how high it is.
It was 20 that whole week, and there's still snow out by me. It's taken forever to melt, even though we have had 40-degree temperatures.
And snow still melted. He got on my boy Brad's case, and meanwhile, Homer has a child years ago where there's less help around, and what did Homer do? Homer went straight to work. He came straight in and he did his job. And what does Ben do? Ben uses his child. He is already using his child as an excuse not to come to work, to give 100% effort.
This is going to be the first of many. And here's the other thing that Homer said. Homer said that his wife at the time, or his wife at the time told, I didn't mean his wife at the time. I think they're still married. But his wife told him at the time, you know what? She had the baby. Go. Get out of the house. Go do your job. I don't need you. I'm wondering if Ben's girl, if the mama is saying the same thing.
Say baby mama. Say Ben's baby mama. Just like they said when they called it for the hot take. His baby mama.
I wouldn't doubt if she said the same thing to Ben. Ben, get out of the house. You don't need to be here. I don't want you here. But Ben is like, no, baby, I can't. I need my vacation time. He's staying there beyond her wishes, I'm sure.
How many times you think Ben Brust has been to Potawatomi in this last 5 days?
I mean, 4.5, right? I mean, almost one a day just to go and get his deal.
100%. Well, here's the thing. We've been talking about the Green Bay Packers and the hiring of their new defensive coordinator. You remember his name?
Jeff Hafley.
Jeff Hafley, the new defensive coordinator. And there were some weary thoughts about whether or not this was a good pick because nobody knew who Jeff Hafley was. Jason Wilde joined us, and he talked to us about Jeff Hafley and the hire. You can listen back to that on Wisconsin On Demand. But I want to talk to Brad more about Jeff Hafley. I want to talk more about David Bakhtiari maybe not coming back to the Green Bay Packers. And we want to hear from you, KBN Nation. Keep it locked. We have the next hour of KBN here. And coming up next on ESPN Madison is Rutledge and Hamilton. But keep it locked for KBN.
Oh yeah, sell out with me tonight.
We've got an issue on Highway 100 or Main Street, Menominee Falls, just east of I-41. Looks like we've got some lane closures because of a crash through there, so give yourself some extra time. Also, eastbound 94, right about at 35th Street, the left lane is blocked with a broken down vehicle. So that's going to be slowing things down pretty much all the way back to 84th Street with that. Otherwise, the westbound side going to be a bit slow right out of the Marquette, heading out through the Stadium interchange as well. Traffic is brought to you by the Neal Group. They know how to minimize your taxes to keep more money in your pocket. Visit nealgroup.net. That's NEAL group.net. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast tonight, mostly cloudy, bit breezy with the low of 34. Tomorrow, decreasing clouds with a high of 39. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Your taste buds are in luck. The Reuben is back at Cousin Subs. Try this classic sub grilled to order just for you. Stacked with corned beef, Wisconsin Swiss cheese, and sauerkraut topped with Thousand Island dressing and served on rye bread. And our delicious mint shake is back. Both the Reuben and mint shake can be ordered via the Cousins app or online for a limited time only. Cousin Subs. We believe in better.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog, because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Hey, this is Brad Nortman from KBN. Tune in to Kyle Bruston Nortman from 2 to 5 every day. WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station. Broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. This is Kyle Bruston Nortman, KBN. On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
We them boys. We them boys.
It's the Faux One Faux Hour at Faux on KBN.
All right, time to grade them. What do you all think?
That was pretty good, I thought.
I'm gaining confidence saying this.
I want a little bit more, like a little more volume.
Okay.
Like, it's the faux one, faux, like a little bit more strength in the voice.
The way, like, you say faux, it's like coming from like it's like a guttural.
Yeah, you got to come with faux.
All right, here we go. Take 2. Test 1, 2, 1, 2.
There we are.
It's the Faux One Faux Hour at Faux on KBN.
There it is.
Is that good?
Y'all felt that. Y'all felt that.
I feel like.
See? You felt it. You had to force it out.
The effort was higher. It felt forced. But hey, if it sounded good.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you have to put that extra effort in, that extra energy in order to make sure people feel the Faux One Faux Hour through their soul.
I mean, and I don't want to do the Faux One Faux Hour any disrespect. So I need to give it my full A+ effort. And, thanks for keeping me high at that standard.
No, I appreciate that. You know why you became a successful NFL punter?
Oh, this ought to be good. Why is that?
It's because you actually take coaching. You listen, you take coaching.
That's true.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Is they said do this, you said sure, why not? You're the expert.
Coachable. I am that kind of yes man.
I like that. I really do like that about you, Brad. And I want to kind of see if you feel good and like the hire of Jeff Hafley as the Green Bay Packers defensive coordinator. I don't know if everybody's heard or not. It's the Green Bay Packers have hired a brand new defensive coordinator. His name is Jeff Hafley. Now, many of you might be saying what I said.
Not Hafley.
I said Hafley. I'm sorry. Wait a minute.
What?
It's been less than 24 hours.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to lie to you. So how I found out about this is going to be a little inappropriate, and I apologize in advance, Ashton. And so I was, my stomach issues came up. We talked about this. And so I'm sitting there doing my thing, and my girl says, the Packers hired a defensive coordinator. And I was like, who? She said,
Wait a minute. You're talking to your girl as you're doing your business?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean,
no.
Listen, if you know how long it takes me, I'm not going to sit there and ignore her for 30 minutes.
So does she you guys like
No,
Is she standing on the other side of the door?
If there's something that comes up, if you need something like, hey, is the food done?
it's a
Or,
shout.
hey,
It's
a shout. Like it's breaking news. She understands what I do for a career. It's breaking news. The Packers hire Jeff Hafley as their defensive coordinator, and so she broke the news. She said, hey, baby, the Packers just hired a new defensive coordinator. I was like, who? I don't know, some Jeff guy. And I'm like, who the? And I look it up, and I'm like, who is this? Boston College? I don't know who Jeff Hafley is. And I'm sure, and the whole point of this was, as I was doing my thing, I had the question of who is this? Just like Brad, when you saw it, you said, who is this? Just like KBN Nation was like, who is this Jeff Hafley? And what we want to know is, do you have concerns over the fact that a lot of people didn't know who Jeff Hafley was? He did not coach in the NFL right away. He was just in college football, so he's not coming from a different NFL opportunity. He coached in the NFL in the past, but the last 3 to 4 years, he's been the head coach at Boston College, so he has been more recently in college football. Does that concern anybody that the new defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers most recent experience comes from college football and not the pros?
Well, whenever I'm confronted with something I don't know anything about, because that was my initial reaction when I saw that Jeff Hafley was going to be the new defensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers, it caught me and struck me as like, that's interesting. I don't know who this guy is. And that followed by research and what do people say about him? And when you don't know something, whether it be, you don't know something about a relationship, you don't know a subject matter, whatever it is, what do? You go to the experts, right? You go to the experts, and what are they telling you? Because if they're an expert in the subject matter, it's probably a pretty good situation to be able to listen to them and take information from there. I'm not going to lie, I was a little concerned. When I heard Jeff Hafley, I was like, who is this guy? Wait a minute, he's been a head coach for the last 4 years? And I do stand by the fact that I do think this is a higher risk hire than most of the other candidates. Because when you've been a head coach in college for 4 years, you've been doing very little defensive planning, right? You've been recruiting. Now you're recruiting your own players. It's boosters. It's handshaking. It's general management. I mean, shoot, you're concerned about if these guys are going to class or not. You're not worried about necessarily implementing the X's and O's of a defense. Okay. But he's had NFL experience, might be a little bit rusty coming back to the NFL ranks as a D coordinator, but he's got some experience. But I was concerned. I do maintain this is a higher level of risk than a lot of the other coaching candidates that were out there. But what I'm hearing from the experts out there, right? Guys that have played for him, guys that have played with him, experts in the subject matter like Dan Orlovsky's of the world, they're singing his praises. They're saying this is a dude, the Packers defense is going to get better, and this is the right hire for them. What I'm hearing about his philosophy, I like. I like press coverage. I like bringing guys into the box. I like the sense of flexibility. I like that he coaches guys hard and brings fire. So there's a lot that I like, but it still maintains that he's pretty unproven in the NFL defensive coordinator world. So I do believe there's a little bit more of a risk. But I want to, we had Jason Wilde on at 3:15 to 3:30. So go back and listen to that on Wisconsin On Demand and anywhere you get your podcasts to go listen back to that interview. Because Jason, as always, excellent, so informed, so plugged in. He said that this was outside of Evero, who was, kind of everyone's first pick, but he didn't even become available. So it wasn't even a real option. This was Matt LaFleur's number one guy. It's something you can't say about Joe Barry. Joe Barry was far down the list, not 1, not 2, but more like 3 or 4 as far as was it Matt LaFleur's guy? Was it his number one option and his preferred preference for the defensive coordinator? So that says something to me. The fact that this guy was Matt LaFleur's number one pick, he got his guy, he got his man, he got the guy that he wants and thinks is best to lead this defense. Because make no mistake, this hire for Matt LaFleur, look, his job isn't necessarily dependent on it if the defense struggles for another couple seasons and the offense keeps doing well. I don't think Matt LaFleur is getting fired. But these two legacies now are intertwined, right? If Matt LaFleur if he nails this hire, and the fact that the Packers can be knocking on a Super Bowl door, it's a huge, huge hire. Because what do we know, Kyle? We know when the Green Bay Packers have a top 10 defense, and what do they do? They win Super Bowls. Mm-hmm. So that is the job description ahead for Jeff Hafley, and this is going to be a monumentous moment for Matt LaFleur. if he picked the right guy and if he can perform, because this is a bright future ahead. You'd hate to have the defense be the thing that gets in the way of having Super Bowl success.
So for KBN Nation, if anybody is feeling apprehensive, if anybody is a little concerned about the fact they didn't know who this is, if anybody is concerned about he doesn't come straight from the NFL most recently, if anybody is questioning it, and again, Brad is not against it, but he's saying it could be higher risk than actual reward. I am here to tell you, I am all in on this. I feel like they nailed this hire. The more I do research, the more I look it up, the more I hear from different people, the more confident I get in the fact that Matt LaFleur made the right decision in finally choosing a guy that he truly wanted to choose. Because when you choose somebody you want, you already have more confidence in the person, and the team also will have confidence as well. One thing Matt LaFleur has earned, he has earned my trust. Matt LaFleur took a roster that lost a Pro Bowl, a Hall of Fame, a MVP, multiple MVP quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, that no longer was on your roster. He took a team that was the youngest team in the NFL. He took a first-year starting quarterback, and let's be honest, in everything that we got to see from Jordan Love prior to this year, he was only mad. In all the reports coming out of training camp year after year, he was inaccurate. People weren't confident that he could be the person that he has turned into. A young receiving core, young tight ends that you're depending on. He was able to take all those pieces, all the obstacles and things that were against him, and he turned this team into not only a winning football team, winning more games this year than what they won last year with Aaron Rodgers, but also winning on the road in the playoffs and beating up on a 2 seed in the Dallas Cowboys that were a true Super Bowl contender before that game, and then going into San Francisco and taking the 49ers, who are playing in the Super Bowl next weekend, to the brink of almost elimination by beating that team on the road. I trust in Matt LaFleur, because one thing Matt LaFleur showed this year is that he is going to step up and he's going to believe in himself. And when he says let it rip, he means let it rip. When he says it's time for these kids to grow up, they're going to grow up. So I'm going to put my faith and trust in him and the stamp of approvals that so many people have put on Jeff Hafley for the Green Bay Packers.
Does Matt LaFleur's history in hiring for the Green Bay Packers, which has been pretty checkered, not that positive so far, does that give you at least any pause?
He never got his guy. He never got Mike Penn. Mike Penn wasn't his guy. Joe Barry was a friend.
Hired him, though.
He hired him because he felt he had to. And I'm telling you, my biggest thing is I like the fact that, and I know Jason talked about, in NFL now, there's so many different variety of different schemes and packages that you play, is that if you run the 3-4, you're not always traditional 3-4 because of how much nickel defense you play in this passing league of the NFL. And so knowing that he hired a guy that he felt confident about, that he felt good about, and he didn't hire a guy that is based in the 3-4 scheme. He didn't hire a guy that was a holdover from the last regime. I feel good about that. And then on top of that, listen, with the change, this new defensive coordinator, he likes bringing pressure. This new defensive coordinator, he likes having guys play man-to-man. The Green Bay Packers were 6th in pressure rate last year, and especially down at the end of the season, something that we saw this team increase in how much pressure they were getting on Justin Fields when he was back there playing quarterback, the pressure they were able to get on Dak Prescott. Even Brock Purdy didn't feel 100% comfortable. This defense was able to get pressure. Now you have a defense that's going to be looking to play press coverage and be able to get pressure on the quarterback. I feel good about what we're going to have with this new scheme, and also the fact that he was a head coach. He knows how to lead a unit. He led a whole team, and I know he can lead our defense. I feel good. I feel confident. Packers fans, KBN Nation, we nailed it. We got it right. 800-990-3776. That's the ESPN Wisconsin talking text line. You could also chime in and call us and let us know if you feel like this was a good hire, how confident you feel about the hire of Jeff Hafley as the new defensive coordinator for the Packers.
Well, and I want to know from KBN Nation, too, if we sit back and say, okay, this is a good hire, how will we know? How will we judge that? Like, what are your expectations for year one for the Green Bay Packer defense? I mean, if we say at this moment next year, looking back on year one, what is the success? What are your expectations for this Green Bay Packer defense? And what would be success for you, Kyle?
Success for me, year one is going to be a transition, right? So I
think it will be a transition.
I expect this defense to be a middle of the pack again next year. I expect, between 12 and 17 in the final rankings for total defense.
Would you call that a success?
If they finish 17th, and I believe they might have finished a little bit lower than that, total defense or around that, I will be okay with that. I will be okay because it is going to be a transition year, but it's all about the bright spots. What do we see? Do we see the defense creating more havoc, creating more pressure? Do we see our defensive backs playing better as well? Do we see those little steps in the right direction? This year, I don't know what our total offense was this year, if we were ranked in the top 10 or not, but regardless of what the ranking was, I know I saw a lot of bright spots to know that even though we didn't have 1,000 1,000-yard receiver. We barely had any receivers get over 100 yards in any single game. I feel confident in the direction that this offense is going 100%. I don't need to see a great total offense number in order for me to know that we have the right pieces, and that's the hope that I have after next year, is that this defense is trending in the right direction.
Yeah, for me, I think that's a fair estimate. For this Green Bay Packer team to win a Super Bowl, whether it be 2024, 2025, there is a window where even if Jordan Love gets extended, usually in those big quarterback contract extensions, usually the first couple years are not terribly punitive as far as a cap situation, right? Where you might have a $20, maybe $30 million cap hit. If they extend Jordan Love, it's not going to be like Dak Prescott this year with a $60 million cap hit. It's just not the way they're structured. So they have, and especially with these young receivers and tight ends that aren't getting paid anything yet, and offensive linemen, they've got a really nice 3 to 4 year window to win a Super Bowl. And if Jordan Love's around for 12 years, all 12 years. But the reality is the roster changes over a lot. So with this core, they've got a nice 3 to 4 years where with Jordan Love leading it, just like a young Brett Favre, a young Aaron Rodgers, you have a young Jordan Love with a core around them that's Super Bowl capable. In order to do that, you need a top 10 defense.
No, you do.
So to me, in year one, you got to be 15 or better. That is what a successful defensive year would be for the Green Bay Packers, where, look, I don't know if you take the sum of all the defensive categories or you pick the ones that matter most, like points, yards, turnovers, things like that. You got to be top half to at least see that we're trending in the right direction, to where that you could win a Super Bowl with a top half defense, but then maybe in 2025, maybe it's top 10 and you're really sealing the deal on a Super Bowl.
800-990-3776. You just heard from the former NFL player on how he feels about the hire of our new coach of Jeff Hafley, the defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. But we want to know how you feel. Definitely chime in on the ESPN Wisconsin Talking text line, just like Ray. Ray said, listen, I'm going to look at it on a positive note because a few articles I read online claim that he's anti-Joe Barry. It seems he runs a very aggressive defense, which is what we've been asking for. And listen, touche. I love that. I agree with that. That's exactly what you want. Anything anti-Joe Barry is positive for us. Also, Clint said on the ESPN Wisconsin Talking text line, my concerns is that the positional coaches are pretty much going to be gone or staying. My concerns are that the positional coaches are pretty much all staying. And I didn't think that they did. My goodness gracious. So many periods, so many different things, so many different drops. The basis of this, let me just cliff note this. Let me sum it up. They don't like the positional coaches staying on the defensive side of the ball because of the fact they did not see enough development over the last 6 years.
Well, I don't know. I did hear that report that a lot of the positional coaches might stay. I'm sure that's going to be completely up to Matt LaFleur and to Coach Hafley to saying, basically re-interviewing. If you think you're still capable to keep you on. This was the big domino to fall. If both Coach LaFleur and Coach Hafley say, you know what, you're good enough to stay on staff or we got to replace you, I trust them at this point to make the necessary moves there.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm glad that you trust. I trust it. Now
it takes a lot for me to trust this one. But
you are on the same page that I am, but we're going to continue this conversation coming up next. Are you confident? Will you feel good about the hire of the new defensive coordinator of Jeff Hafley for the Green Bay Packers? Brad is coming along. He's coming around. He feels better. I feel good, KBN Nation. I think we all should be celebrating today because, again, we have a Jeff and not a Joe, and the last Joe we had was not very good. I want to hear from you. Brad wants to hear from you. 800-990-3776. That is the talking text line. KBN is more. Coming up next, more.
This is Kyle Bruston Nortman.
When I'm, again, doing the Pack Arena, and as a shareholder, when I'm sizing up my ring, I'm sizing up my ring
Pack Arena right now.
1 pack, 2 pack, 3 pack Arena.
Hey.
What's the rest of the words? Jordan Love to Christian Watson. Nay, that's a touchdown.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
We've got an issue on Highway 100 or Main Street, Menominee Falls, just east of I-41. Looks like we've got some lane closures because of a crash through there, so give yourself some extra time. Also, eastbound 94, right about at 35th Street, the left lane is blocked with a broken down vehicle. So that's going to be slowing things down pretty much all the way back to 84th Street with that. Otherwise, the westbound side going to be a bit slow right out of the Marquette heading out through the stadium interchange as well. Traffic is brought to you by the Neal Group. They know how to minimize your taxes to keep more money in your pocket. Visit nealgroup.net. That's NEAL Group.net. And checking the TMJ4 Storm King forecast tonight, mostly cloudy, bit breezy with a low of 34. Tomorrow, decreasing clouds with a high of 39. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lozga on 94.5 ESPN.
Football guy.
Good morning, Tausch. How are you?
Football guy.
Old T's a little. I'm not feeling 100%. Tell me,
coming at it from different views.
No, just I think with all that little stuff that's going around, and you had the long trip back from the loo. I'm gonna grind.
Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Also sponsored by Coors Light. Weekdays 9 to noon on 94.5 ESPN, and available wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
Here in Wisconsin, one name is synonymous with fantastic frozen pizza, Palermo's. For almost 60 years, Palermo's has focused on feeding Wisconsin families. And though Palermo's has grown a lot since 1964, they're still family-owned. They're still proud to call Milwaukee home. And they're still committed to making the best frozen pizza possible. From their new and improved rising crust pizzas to their guilt-free Primo thin pies, Palermo's has a delicious slice for every appetite. Find Palermo's in your local grocer's freezer food aisle. Palermo's. Flavor is our family's business.
Milwaukee, brace yourselves for an electrifying experience at Couples Clash 2024. Join us on Valentine's Day from 4 to 8 p.m. at 22 Fitness Boxing Studio in Milwaukee for a no-contact fitness event like no other. Feel the adrenaline and watch as couples battle it out and support a worthy cause. All proceeds go to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention's Out of the Darkness campaign in 2024. Mark your calendars for this unforgettable night. The Couples Clash, the ultimate showdown. Sign up today at 22fitnessboxing.com.
I had a really strange experience today.
Strange how?
A man walked into the store who was only about 2.5 feet tall.
What?
And he was carrying a bow and arrows.
Did he sort of have a baby face?
Yes. How did you know?
Sarah, that was Cupid.
Oh.
Did he give us a thumbs up?
Yes, 3 times.
So tell us, what are the Cupid-approved gifts for Valentine's 2024?
He loved our diamond stud earrings starting at $198.
We have 186 different styles and sizes.
And we have more than 1,400 pair in stock.
And Cupid loved our $98 diamond pendant.
It looks like it's worth a lot more.
And every purchase of $298 or more includes a fabulous free travel case to safely transport all of your jewelry.
But mostly, he loved the 4-carat total weight wow diamond engagement ring for less than $4,000.
Welcome to Kessler's for Valentine's Day.
Cupid approved.
Find the Kesslers nearest you at KesslersDiamonds.com.
Do you love winning? This February, head to Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee and fall head over heels with the Love It or Leave It $400,000 game show. Thursday nights, you could play the Love It or Leave It game show where you can love your prize or leave it for another. Play with your club card to earn drawing entries. Top prize is $10,000 in cash. It's time for Love It or Leave It. Only at Potawatomi. Learn more at PaceBig.com. Must be 21 years old and a club member to play.
This is Kyle Bruston Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
I stay flossing in that candy paint, blowing down, sipping drink, 84 swing, tearing up a lane, yeah.
You know who this is?
I do not.
Who?
Mike Jones?
Yeah, Jeff Hafley. I keep saying Laffy. Jeff Hafley. Who? Jeff Hafley.
Wow. That's pretty good. DJ Kyle is a different animal. You bring the rhythm, the vibes. I think I was listening to the lyrics as it was coming in.
Yeah.
They rhymed swang like a swing, but they called it a swang.
Well, we just missed who?
Lane.
Mike Jones. I'm sorry, I got distracted. I got a little ADHD. But swang and hang?
Yeah, no, they're saying like I'm something on a swang. So they changed swing to swang.
Wait.
And then the line after it was lane. So swang and lane.
So you didn't know swanging is a word?
Like
swinging, I'm swanging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a I've never heard.
Swanging, it's a word. If somebody said I'm swanging.
Like you're swinging on a swing?
No, you're swanging on a swing.
Swanging on a swing?
Yeah.
Wait, is that supposed to be like a cooler version of?
No, I don't know. Maybe it's the Ebonics version. I don't know. I've heard of it, the hip version.
I've never heard of swanging.
You've never heard the word swanging?
Like, I'm going to go over to the park over there, and there's some swings. I'm going to go swang.
Yeah, I'm swanging.
No.
Oh, I swang on them.
No.
Never heard
The
like
only thing I've
swang
heard
like
of-
swing.
I've heard of like what's like the swang and surfing song?
Swag and surfing?
Yeah, how does that have anything to do with
Man,
that?
I got my swag. Swag and surf is different. Swag and swang are two different things.
Or what is it? What is it? Is that,
Look what Taylor Swift now has him talking about the swag and surf
I knew
song.
that song before Taylor.
Okay,
Come on now.
All right, now I'm not going to challenge you. You were in the locker room with a lot of hip people. So
Yeah, that's true. I gained an education that way.
well, let's swang our way over to KBN Academy.
In radio, our goal's pretty simple.
Just so you know, you really suck.
Have an A show or an F show.
Hey, I'll decide who sucks around here.
The same goes for topics in this next segment. This is the KBN Academy.
Those that can't do, teach.
This is KBN Academy. This is an opportunity for us to hear about different topics and us share our master's degree-esque type of knowledge, correct?
That's correct. We got them. Might as well use them.
We got them. We might as well use them. I'm paying for it, and I got to use it somehow. This is the only way I can use it.
I can't think of a better way to use it than right now.
Yeah,
on
the
KBN
government.
Academy.
The government is asking, Brad. They're asking. Leave me alone. What's the first question we have here, Chris, for KBN Academy?
Started off on KBN Academy. Humorous and quirky messages on electronic signs will soon disappear from highway and freeways across the country. Administration officials say electronic signs with obscure meanings, references to pop culture, or those intended to be funny will be banned by the year 2026. A or F, you like the signs?
I think this is an F. Oh, no, sorry. Okay. The fact that they're banning them is an F. It's an A that I like the signs. I think these signs are awesome. They're super funny. When you're just casually driving down the expressway and you see over the overhang a digital sign, reminding you to like not drink and drive, make sure your seatbelt. Whenever those are like funny or they have to do with a holiday or something like that, it catches my eye. I think they're funny. It changes up my day. It gives me a little smile. The fact that they're banning these, I think actually does the opposite effect. If it's just a bland old message, you're not even going to notice it. So this is it's an A for me. I like these signs. I think they're pretty funny. I also love a good pun here and there. So.
Who knew the government could be just like the NFL? The No Fun League. My goodness. I wasn't paying attention to these signs before I saw all the little funny lines. Like, the whole point, as you said, Brad, is to get people's attention. You already have the sign up there. I could understand if the sign was a distraction because, you're being distracted, not keeping your eyes in front of you, but you're looking up trying to read the sign. Well, that's what you want people to do. You want people to read the sign. If you don't want people to read the sign, why the heck is it there?
Great point.
So this is nonsense. This is stupid. This is all just so not fun. Nothing in life is fun anymore.
Of all the things that political officials can agree on, they agree on this?
Right. What
Come
the heck?
on.
We got a bipartisanship on this. The thing is, they constantly do what we don't ask them to do. We didn't ask them not to do this. We asked them to get rid of a whole bunch of stuff, but not this. My goodness. This is stupid. An F. I love the F. What's the next one, Chris?
All right, moving on. The Big Ten announced changes to its conference basketball tournament schedule next season. With the conferences moving to 18 teams, only 15 will make the Big Ten tournament, leaving 3 schools per year out of the tourney. The top 4 seeds will maintain a double bye, while seeds 5 through 9 will receive a single bye. A or F, you like the new format?
This is an F for me. I do not like this new format. First of all, there's 2 things I dislike about it. One, a double bye. A double bye for the first 4 seeds. I get it. You should give the top seeds some sort of advantage. They've earned it. I do think that home field advantage, buys, things like that are generally good. But 2 games? That seems like way too many. Just give them 1 buys. And the other thing is the bottom 3 teams are being left out. Some of the best things about these tournaments are the runs that the bottom
stories.
That's right. The bottom of these conferences can run. Because if you win the Big Ten tournament, if you win the SEC tournament, that might be their only prayer to make it into the NCAA tournament. So the fact that there's always even just a shred of hope that you could make it into the big dance and win the Big Ten tournament, let the boys play, Kyle. Let them play.
Greed and money is ruining everything. This is all, like greed and money not only ruin college football in the sense of I can't get locked in on a player because they may transfer at any time, because we got to focus on keeping players happy. And greed and money now has me having to buy streaming services in order to watch my beloved Wisconsin Badgers play basketball and play football. Now greed and money is taking away kids' opportunity to participate in some type of postseason tournament. That's the one thing that kids are so excited to do, is though they may not make the NCAA tournament, at least they can have that hope. At least they can have that dream of that Cinderella run, and you're absolutely ripping it away from them, and I absolutely hate the fact that they are doing this. The Big Ten failed, and they sucked at this. They should have been more creative. Why not just have a play-in tournament? Why not take the bottom 4 teams and have them have a play-in where you play in and the teams that get in get a chance to actually go into the tournament? But everybody has the opportunity to be part of something. But nope, the Big Ten decided they wanted to add all these dang teams, and they added the teams so fast, they're only going to add 2, and they ended up adding 4 because of the fact that the Pac-12 just fell apart. I hate that money has taken over everything. The purity of college football is completely gone, and now the kids don't even get a chance, or basketball and sports is gone, and now the kids don't even get a chance to live out a dream to play in a college basketball tournament. This is a joke, but it's a joke that my Badgers will never have to realize, because you know what? They're always going to be there.
Rolling, baby. They are good.
We'll never be in the bottom 3.
All right, and wrap up here on KBN Academy with today being National Optimist Day. ARF, you're the most optimistic about the Packers more so than any other Wisconsin sports team.
Well, you and I are optimists, Kyle. This is a question. So happy Optimist Day to you, might I say.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm feeling that. Maybe why I feel so good yesterday and today.
Yeah,
this is it.
This day was made for people like you and I, optimists. Packers are the most optimistic team than any other sports team. I'm gonna go with an F. Slightly more optimistic about the Bucs. I know they're going through their struggles right now. I know they just lost to Portland last night. Dame's returned back to a young Portland team. I still think that they are equipped to win an NBA title in the near future. So my optimism for the Milwaukee Bucks, the fact that they are the big dogs of the NBA and right there in the middle of the NBA championship chase, I think they edge out the Packers just a little bit, but the Packers are a close second.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I'm optimistic about the Packers, but there's a team that's doing real well right now. It has a big matchup coming, I believe, tonight, but then also on Sunday. And that's the Wisconsin Badgers basketball team,
yes, sir.
or the Wisconsin Badgers women's hockey team, or the Wisconsin Badgers men's hockey team. I'm optimistic about everything Wisconsin. You're rocking that Wisconsin W. I need to put that on my forehead. I'm optimistic about Wisconsin athletics. I'm more optimistic about that. So I feel good about my Green Bay Packers. I feel great about my Milwaukee Bucks, but I feel even better and more optimistic about the season that's right in front of me, and that's the men's basketball season, the women's hockey season, and the men's hockey season as well.
It's a good choice.
Yes. On Wisconsin, right, bro?
On Wisconsin.
On Wisconsin.
That's it for KBN Academy.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. That is it for KBN Academy. On the other side, I was a little late to our meeting today that we had, our pre-show meeting. You know, busy man, very, very busy man. And I go down the sheet and I see, thank you, Chris, and I see that they've been talking trash about me when I'm not around. What is the trash that they're about to present to me and talk about me right here live on air? If you want to know, you got to keep it locked right here on KBN, because I want to know. So keep it locked. You're listening to KBN on ESPN Wisconsin.
You're listening to Kyle Brust and Nortman.
I'll say that, man. Mark Chmura, every time I see him in the morning, get my coffee, I walk right by here and I look at him, I'm like, man, that's a handsome dude.
Sounds like you got to cull up with him too, huh?
I'd love to. I feel like I'd fit right in. You know, he's 6'6", you know, I'd be the little spoon with Chew.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
We got a bit of a heavy ride along southbound 894, starting around Oklahoma Avenue, down and around the Hale interchange, all the way to Loomis. So give yourself some extra time there. Westbound 94, going to be slow out of the Marquette, all the way through the Stadium interchange to Mitchell Boulevard. And eastbound 94, also heavy from 84th Street through the Stadium, starts to let up by about 27th Street. Traffic is brought to you by the Delafield Brewhouse. A porter is in order at the Delafield Brewhouse. Their medium-bodied ale is brewed with dark roasted malt for a smooth, bold finish. The Delafield Brewhouse. Drink ale, live lager. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast tonight. Mostly cloudy, a low of 34. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with a high of 40. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazagon, 94.5 ESPN.
Hey, it's Gabe Neitzel from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. You've heard me talk about the results mentality has had on my life, but don't just take it from me. Jason has had success too, thanks to mentality.
My only regret is I didn't do it sooner. Knowing once again I've gotten the treatments done and continuing, it's I do feel, stuff does hurt a little bit more, but I'm 40, in my 40s, and that's going to happen. But again, the energy levels, it is above and beyond. Again, it's I'm back in that age where I'm like, this is amazing.
Get started today at lowtusa.com.
An ESPN Radio Extra Point with Evan Cohen, Chris Canty, and Michelle Smallman.
You can't have a perfect roster, which is why it's important to develop the right type of culture, the right type of chemistry that allows everybody to be at their best once we get to the postseason. And that has been the thing that has eluded the Dallas Cowboys over the last 3 years. And quite frankly, if you're going into this season with a lame duck coach and a lame duck quarterback, I don't know how those things get fixed. I don't know how the questions about the quarterback and the questions about the head coach go away.
You know what else is not getting any better is the fact that so many players or people connected to the Dallas Cowboys, whether it's ownership or family members, are speaking out about this publicly.
Yep.
It feels like a lot of finger pointing. And to me, if I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, instead of everyone wanting to air out their grievances publicly, like this is Festivus, how about you get back to work? How about you say, you know what, I could have done better.
If you only have a 401k, you're not getting the most for retirement.
Wait, what?
Add a Robinhood IRA on top, then they'll boost it by 3%.
You can do that?
And if you transfer in any retirement account, you get 3% on top of that.
Is there a limit to the match?
No limit. Robinhood Gold gets you the biggest contribution match of any IRA on the market. Sign up for Robinhood Gold at Robinhood.com/boost by April 30th. Subscription fees apply.
Investing involves risk. 3% match requires gold for 1 year from first match. Must keep IRA for 5 years. Match on transfers subject to additional terms and conditions. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC.
We expect our information in real time. US Med carries continuous glucose monitors, which provide real-time readings of blood glucose levels. US Med is an approved provider for Medicare and over 500 private insurers. So call 888-665-0696 today for a free insurance and Medicare benefits check as easy as... That's 888-665-0696.
Hey, this is Jason Wilde from Wilde & Tausch. Valentine's Day is almost here, and Racine Danish Kringles has you covered with their heart-shaped Kringle. You know my family loves Kringle from Racine Danish Kringles, and sometimes they share it with me. Racine Danish Kringles offers a heart-shaped Kringle with pink icing in raspberry, chocolate silk, cherry, and pecan flavors to send to your loved one. Order at Kringle.com or call 800-4DANISH. Racine Danish Kringles, the official pastry of ESPN Wisconsin. It's not just a treat, it's a tradition.
This is Kyle Bruston Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Wake up, wake up, wake up. It's wake up, wake up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wake up, wake up, wake up. It's wake up, wake up. Yeah, yeah.
It is indeed the first of the month. And it's a good time to plan a remodeling session. If you want to plan a remodeling session, you definitely have to plan it with my friends at the Bath Authority. If your bath is shower is old or outdated, they will help take care of you. The Bath Authority provides the highest quality, yes, the highest quality of bathroom remodeling products, along with world-class customer experience and customer service. Their modern, durable tubs and showers are designed with an exclusive high-tech polymer lining. And so what that means is to you is that it's low maintenance, resistant to mold and mildew, and easy to clean, and will last for decades. Yes, last for decades. Plus, it comes with a lifetime warranty. We love the lifetime warranty. So all of Bath Authority's products are 100% made in the US of A, and they can be installed in as little as 1 day by a certified factory technician. Yes, in as little as 1 day. Installed by a certified technician. Call today and get $1,000 off your new shower or bath plus 36 months of free interest financing. Yes, $1,000 off your new shower or bath plus 36 months of interest-free financing. You're their priority at the Bath Authority, so visit them at thebathauthority.com and elevate your bathroom to a new level of luxury, style, and safety. And again, don't forget, you'll get $1,000 off your new shower or bath when you get a free in-home estimate. So schedule that today, plus 36 months of interest-free financing. Contact them today at thebathauthority.com. Thebathauthority.com, where a better bath awaits. This is KBN here on ESPN Wisconsin, 800-990-3776. So we have a surprise here. Do you know what the surprise is?
I think so.
So we're going to talk a little bit about what you guys were talking trash about me behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah,
I
know that.
But we have another surprise here. Somebody calling in who typically calls in when somebody else is in this main seat, but he's calling in today, and I'm curious. Do you have beef? Are you looking to defend your brother? Are you looking to defend the terrible Chicago Bears?
Oh, boy.
To whom do I owe this pleasure, and why do I owe the pleasure to you, Mr. Jonathan Brust?
Hey, Kyle, I have no idea what you guys have been talking about. I just talked to my car. I've had an awful day.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Ben thinks...
Cool.
Oh, Ben thinks he's... Oh, cool. Yeah, Josh Fazio's not on the soundboard anymore. Yeah, I don't even hear that soundboard anymore. That soundboard's done. No, my day has been awful. I had my entire family of 6 kids kicked out of school today.
Oh, no.
Why?
Why is that?
I was... well, last night, my wife and I were out, and the dog decided to go into the backyard and get skunked.
Oh, no.
Then you got... Oh, yeah, Brad, you know where I'm going. And I have a 16-year-old and a 14-year-old, and the worst thing you can do for a dog after they get skunked is put water on the dog.
Oh, no. What does that mean? What happens when that happens?
Well, because when a skunk sprays, it's oil that comes out, and it goes onto the dog. So what happens generally, Kyle? Answer this for me. It's just, are you smarter than Ben Brust's question? If you put water on oil, what happens?
They don't mix at all.
Correct. It makes it worse. They put 2 5-gallon buckets on the dog.
Oh, no.
So are you saying
my entire house
smells like skunk?
Stinks to the high heavens. Oh, I stink like a skunk.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You smell like a skunk currently today? Like everywhere you move, you smell like a skunk?
Every single article in our house smells like a skunk.
Are you kidding? Is that why the kids had to be sent home from school? Is because they stink so badly?
Their teachers kicked them out of class because they smelled like a skunk.
They said absolutely not. Y'all gonna have to do some virtual learning.
It's so great for Ben to be here. It's awful.
Wait a minute.
You can't make this stuff up.
No, you can't.
So your house smells like boo boo, and then on top of that, your kids are now kicked out of school. Did they at least set them up with virtual learning with some type of computers, or are those kids just losing days of school because of the poor stench that they smell like?
Well, my kids go to private school because, I'm bougie like that.
Oh, you got it. You got money like that.
But no, I mean, my wife walked into school. My kids' coats, bags, everything were in the hallway. Nothing was allowed in the classroom because they smelled so bad.
So what do you have to do now? How do you get rid of the smell?
Oh, well, at least it's 50 degrees today in Chicago, so I was able to open all the windows. But the house still smells like crap.
It's going to smell like crap for a while.
Yeah, kind of like what you spew about your Packers.
Oh, Mr. Jealous.
You knew that was coming.
Before you get hooked here, how do you what do you think your brother's doing right now? Do you think he's actually taking care of his brand new beautiful child?
Or right now, Ben has never changed one diaper since the baby's been born.
So you think over under 0.5? You take the under on diapers changed by Ben?
Oh, I'm 100% taking the under. I mean, all I hear is, "Oh, she's great. She does such a good job. She's been fantastic." Hey Ben, what about you? What have you done, bro?
Well, he chatted us here and he talked trash about Brad here in the chat. And then he ran off and said, I got to go take care of a napping baby.
Yeah, Jonathan, obviously he's not here because he's supposed to be doing paternal duties. He bumps into the YouTube ESPN chat, and the first thing he says is he makes fun of my outfit, and then he jumps right out of the chat. So we know he's not doing anything because if you're a real engaged parent with a baby, you don't have time for that. And the first thing he does is take a shot. Does any of that surprise you?
I mean, Brad, as parents, we get it. We all know who Ben is. He's a fraud.
He's a fraud.
He's a fraud.
Mark that.
It's the tables have turned on Ben now.
Ben is a fraud, and it comes from his brother. Jonathan Brust, I hope you start you stop smelling like boo-boo for the next week, because this sounds like that is a terrible situation. And I hope your kids can go back to, I mean, you're paying for your kids to go to private school. They would have had a whole argument with me, because I'd be danged if you kick my kids out when I pay good money for them to be here. 6 of them kids.
Whatever. You know what? It is what it is. I love you guys. Have a great day.
Thanks for calling, Jonathan.
Oh, that was a nice
I love it how we're Jonathan Brust's therapist, apparently.
Yeah, I guess so.
Where all of a sudden he just gets in his car after a day's work and like, you know what? I'm going to call into the KBN show.
Hasn't listened.
And just vent my frustrations about my day.
I mean, did you?
I'm not going to call my brother up and vent my frustrations, even though he's not on the show. Because I usually call him when he's on the show, but now I'm not going to call him on the show. I'm going to bother the KBN guys because nothing exactly happened yesterday, like Jeff Hafley being the Packers defensive coordinator or anything. Now we're not, like, talking about something else.
When you screened him, what did he say?
I don't screen Jonathan Brust. He's got carte blanche to come on this show per Ben Brust. So,
well, Ben ain't here, so he don't have carte blanche to come on this show until Ben comes back. Ben will hopefully be back next week, unless he's going to take another week of not changing any diapers.
That is what he described of your whole house and body.
And sounds awful.
That sounds like a torture that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemies. That would be horrible.
That sounds
horrible.
Terrible. See, that's why I'm never going to have a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
I'll admit, I didn't know you shouldn't do that with a skunk. That would have been my first inclination. Would have been like, oh, I need to clean this dog, and water is the best way to clean it. I would have fallen into the same trap as the kids.
The first mistake was letting the dog in the house. You should have said, listen, we love you, FIFO, but you stink. you stink, buddy. Who stink? FIFO? Isn't FIFO? FIFO? Fido. Fido the dog. I don't know where that comes from, but Fido the dog. Where's that from?
I just think it's like
it's like a classic dog's name, I guess.
Yeah,
Fido. Okay, all right. Well, shout out
FIFO.
FIFO, FIFO. I don't know.
FIFO is like an accounting term. Shout out to all my accounting nerds out there.
There you go. That went over my head and many people's heads. But We're gonna have We're gonna have somebody who we really want to talk to. We've been talking about the new defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers and Jeff Hafley being hired by the Packers, being our new DC. We talked a little bit about whether or not David Bakhtiari will be returning. And somebody who played with David Bakhtiari will have some insight on this. It's Brian Bulaga. We'll speak to Brian coming up next here on KBN on ESPN Wisconsin.
This is Kyle Bruston Nortman, KBN.
Yeah, let them do it. I ain't doing it.
You're not going to hurt our feelings.
Come on.
Just mine.
Homer, come on.
Yo, fuck. I should be doing this time. I should be 2-6. That good enough for you? You need any more?
That's fair.
Need any more?
One? Us?
Yeah.
Y'all
2, 3, 4.
You're all the same.
There we go.
Nobody's as good as me.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Badger football fans, Brad Nortman here, inviting you to the Big Red Rally, an evening full of fun, football, and food, hosted at the Italian Community Center in downtown Milwaukee on February 8th. Meet the Badgers' newest recruits and hear directly from head coach Luke Fickell. Tickets to the Big Red Rally can be purchased individually or in tables of 10, with special discounts for UW-Madison grads. Jump around downtown Milwaukee to the Big Red Rally on February 8th and be part of the tradition. Visit uwalumni.com/events for more information. I will see you there.
Hey Wayne, shopping for a new door? Do you need something more dependable?
Yes, something that's durable, dent resistant, knows how to take a hit, and is going to last for years.
We're still talking about the door, right?
Oh yeah, right, of course.
Wayne Larrabee and Jeff Levering shopping together at Pella? What next? How about 0% interest for up to 3 years? Or no money down, no interest, and no payments for up to 18 months at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details. Conference 22924.
I had a really strange experience today.
Strange how?
A man walked into the store who was only about 2.5 feet tall.
What?
And he was carrying a bow and arrows.
Did he sort of have a baby face?
Yes. How did you know?
Sarah, that was Cupid.
Oh.
Did he give us a thumbs up?
Yes, 3 times.
So tell us, what are the Cupid-approved gifts for Valentine's 2024?
He loved our diamond stud earrings starting at $198.
We have 186 different styles and sizes.
And we have more than 1,400 pair in stock.
And Cupid loved our $98 diamond pendant.
It looks like it's worth a lot more.
And every purchase of $298 or more includes a fabulous free travel case to safely transport all of your jewelry.
But mostly, he loved the 4-carat total weight wow diamond engagement ring for less than $4,000.
Welcome to Kessler's for Valentine's Day.
Cupid approved.
Find the Kesslers nearest you at KesslersDiamonds.com.
It's time for the Ortho ASAP Minute from Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin.
Dr. Rick Papandrea is joining me. How special is it for you being able to watch people see their quality of life return?
There's no doubt that the efficiency is great for everybody. It's very rewarding as a surgeon to take care of somebody and see them get better. But to have them come in and do it in a seamless fashion is really exciting. One case comes to mind. We had a young girl who was doing some cartwheels, and she came in with a broken elbow, and everything lined up, maybe more so than even is typical. She needed special care. She needed her elbow fixed with a very particular fracture that is difficult to fix. And not only is it difficult to fix, but it can be somewhat complicated by stiffness. So with my specialty of my background, I do a lot of elbow arthroscopy, which isn't very common. And we had her in the operating room later that day where I was able to arthroscopically reduce and fix her elbow fracture. And she was back to a normal kid about 2 months later.
The Ortho ASAP Minute is sponsored by Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
Mark Tauscher here. Join me and all the fans who enjoy playing Prize Picks, the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. Basketball season in full swing and the big game coming up in Vegas. Prize Picks now features combo projections that include players from different sports and leagues. And if you're worried about selecting a player that might miss some playing time with an injury, well, I've got good news. Prize Picks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. If your football or basketball selection gets hurt in the first half and doesn't return in the second, that player is rebooted in your selection. Prize Picks is so easy to play, which is what makes it great. Pick 2 to 6 players, and it takes less than 60 seconds to select an entry, even for Old T. And Prize Picks now offers Apple Pay for quick and easy deposits into your account. Sign up today at prizepicks.com or on the Prize Picks app and use the promo code WI for an instant deposit match of up to $100. That's code WI. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
You're listening to Kyle Brust and Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Oh, I know Brian Bulaga's a big fan of Maroon 5, right? Is that what this is? I think this is Maroon 5, right?
Yeah, I think it's Maroon 5.
Yeah.
It is indeed, yeah.
I love me from Maroon 5. I also love Fido, who comes from Elmer Fudd. And I love FIFO. Well, now I don't love FIFO, as Brad was explaining to me what it means. Yeah, over my head. Then
you were starting to grasp it.
I kind of somewhat. Maybe I'm good at faking it. Who knows? But somebody who we know is not good at faking it. He doesn't need to fake it because he was an absolute stud when he played in the NFL, and that is former Packers tackle Brian Bulaga. Brian, thanks for joining us here on KBN today.
Guys, how are we doing this evening?
We're doing good. I mean, this is what I want to know. Forget what I think. You and Brad played in the NFL. I want to hear your thoughts on the Packers hiring Jeff Hafley for their defensive coordinator. First things first, did you know who he was? And then what was your initial reaction?
Well, no, I did not know who he was. I had to do a little Google search and see who he was, kind of where he's been, his background, who he's, coached with, and kind of maybe who he's going to mold this defense after, when you look at scheme-wise. Is it a Mike Pettin defense? Is it a Robert Saleh defense? Who's he going to kind of, mold his scheme around? So that's kind of what I'm most interested in. And, whether or not it's a good hire is remained to be seen, obviously. But the direction that he went was obviously a guy that was a head coach. So he's got experience with, organization, communication, getting lots of guys to work together on the same page. And, that's the route Matt LaFleur went. And like I said, it remains to be seen how it pans out.
Does him being a college coach and coming from those ranks concern you? I know he has NFL history and pedigree, but he coached in college most recently. Is that something that would concern you as a player in that locker room?
He has an NFL background, right? He's been in the NFL. He's coached position groups in the NFL. So I'm not sure if it's would be a big concern of mine if, say, I was an offensive player and the offensive coordinator came right from college. Probably wouldn't be a huge concern knowing his resume. But at the same time, there's a big difference between college ball and kind of handling those kids, because that's what they are, and coming into an NFL locker room with grown men and handling grown men and trying to get your message across to those guys. So I'm a little, not nervous, but I'm anxious to see, how he comes in and starts kind of preaching his message, because that's what he needs to do. He needs to get guys to buy in. He hasn't been in the league for a while. Things have changed since the last time he was in the league. It changes every year. Kind of the way the game gets played changes every year, especially when you've been out of it for 4 or 5 years like he has. So it's going to be an interesting process to see how he gets guys to buy in and be all in with what he's selling.
Brian, the Packers have been running basically a 3-4 defense of late. Historically, way back when, it was 4-3. This guy's known for me running a 4-3. Brian Gutekunst is talking about how in reality almost everything is a 4-2-5 with the way nickel is nowadays. Does any of that matter? Like, is it a big deal, the fact that the Joe Barry defense was a 3-4, and now it might change a little bit? I mean, you were obviously in the trenches on offense. Does any of that really matter that much, or you're just trying to square up personnel and game planning?
Well, at the end of the day, you got to have a set of principles to go off. As an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator, you got to have base defense. What is your base defense? And to me, that's always a big deal, because you look at it from an offensive perspective. What is their bread and butter? What are they going to go to when they got to have something, right? Got to have it moments is always base defense, and that's where you have your favorite personnel out there, and you're rolling with it. Now, I get it. Situational football, nickel, dime may be your best personnel that game, but when you install defenses and any game plans or any offenses, day one is day one, and that's going to be base defense. And it matters, because it matters to guys positionally and kind of their assignments and roles and expectations. I'm hoping, obviously, Goody is right? A lot of nickel gets played in the NFL these days, the way it's a passing league. A lot of 4 down, 2 backers. Safety drops into the box to become the 7th run defender, and off we go. But if this guy, Jeff Hafley, if his base defense is 4 down, I'm excited to see how that looks and how, guys are moved around on this defense and who's playing where and whatnot, because I think Green Bay can have a great defense in a 4 down base front. I really do. I think we have the personnel for it. But again, that's all remain to be seen. He's not going to get up in his new press conference and say what defense he's going to play. He's not going to, give away everything, but if that's the route he goes, the Robert Saleh defense, like from San Francisco, there's a lot to be excited about with that.
How hard is it to transition? Like, how hard is it for the Packers defense? And even for you, I mean, you went from having Mike McCarthy as your head coach with a certain offense and then Matt LaFleur coming in. How difficult is it for you to transition from one scheme to another scheme?
It's difficult. There's challenges to it. And, I mean, at the end of the day, right, like, cover one's cover one, cover two's cover two, cover three's cover three. Like, these guys know how to play defense, but there's always going to be calls that are different. There's going to be checks that are different. There's going to be different expectations for certain guys in certain positions of what they maybe used to do to what, Hafley expect them to do now. So there's an adjustment period to it. Obviously, I wouldn't say as much as offense. A lot of moving parts in offense, tons of them. That it was a rough few months from OTAs into training camp, learning the LaFleur offense. But once we got it down, we were rolling. But defense is a little more, I don't want to say simple, but a little more cut and dry. So I think the guys will adapt to it. Obviously, like I say all this without knowing what scheme he is going to introduce, right? Like, we'll figure that out. Probably not even in the preseason. You'll see that week 1, because new coach, new scheme. He's going to hide as much as he can until week 1. So we won't really know how he's deploying guys or anything like that until when they walk out of the tunnel for week 1. But I think there's a lot to be excited about. I mean, there's a lot of questions, obviously, with his experience and kind of will he be able to command a room and things of that nature. I haven't heard him talk yet. I don't think he's done a presser, so you don't really get to hear kind of his personality and his message yet. So I'm excited whenever that happens. But like I said, there's going to be an adjustment period, but I think, the guys will be fine handling it.
We're joined by Brian Bulaga, former Packer great, who joins the Homer Hour from 5 to 6. And Brian, before we let you go, what would be a successful first season for this Packer defense in your eyes?
Well, I think a successful defense, top 12 overall would be a great success. You got a lot of big names, a lot of good pieces on that defense, a lot of high draft picks. I can assure you more capital is going to be added to this draft. So I would love to see a top 12 defense overall, not just points allowed or this or that, just an overall top 12 defense. I think would be a great start.
Thank you so much, Brian. Always with some great insight. You can hear Brian Bulaga coming up next here on the Homer Hour on ESPN Milwaukee. And looking at the poll as we talk about Jeff Hafley, the new defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers, it seems like a lot of people are positive. You look on our Twitter X poll, you can join in on Twitter X poll. Initial reaction, do you like the Packers hire of Jeff Hafley as DC? 76% said yes. Brad?
It's pretty good on National Optimist Day.
It is pretty good on National Optimist Day.
Put me in that yes category.
All right.
Let's go.
Brad's in the yes. I'm in the yes. We're in the yes. And Homer Hour is next. Keep it locked.
We got a bit of a heavy ride along southbound 894, starting around Oklahoma Avenue down and around the Hale interchange, all